Thursday Night Motorsport on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club across Facebook, Twitch and YouTube. Welcome along, everybody. Nice to have your company wherever you're tuning in all around Australia. Tonight, we're back to Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. We ended Monday night here. We start Thursday night here. It's the 7th round of the Spreyton Cider LMP2 Championship. DownForce Legends, as we call it. And what a magnificent bit of real estate this is. 6.5 kilometres of pure horsepower heaven. And then we go to the bloody polar opposite of that, unfortunately, to bring you Spreyton Cider Porsche Cup racing from Circuit Park Zandvoort, that tiny, narrow little canyon in the Netherlands. I'm Zach Caben. Daniel Correa-Sar is here alongside me. Judging by what you're seeing on screen there, folks, I would assume that it's very foggy at the moment, and there might be some rain in the vicinity, in the horizon. We'll wait and see what comes of racing when we flick over to that server in just a few moments' time. We're 8.5 minutes into qualifying here. 11 o'clock Eastern time. The server time, of course, 23 km/h winds in a mostly northwesterly direction. 20 degrees the ambient, 27 on track. That tells me that it's dry right off the top. That says dry to me, because we always say that when it's a warmer track temp than ambient, we know that it's dry. If it's a colder track temp than ambient, we're expecting precipitation. We'll have a look at the track conditions for you in just a moment once we get off the aerial shot. And in fact, really, I mean, with the fog level laying that low, you're not getting any benefit from the aerial shot at all. That's a little bit better. There we go. But yes, 6.5 kilometres, Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin, and we are set fair for a big doubleheader tonight. Let's have a look at the championship standings coming into this round in Spreyton Cider DownForce Legends. And there they are. Chris Noble. Actually, that's found up just nicely, hasn't it? Around the carousel on the run down to Canada. Chris Noble, the man to beat at the moment, 48 points clear of Guy Leach. Ash Lear is third. Adam Lavis, Lane Thoburn make up the top 5. Matt Distill, still waiting for him to fire into gear. He's missed the last couple of weeks. He is on the grid tonight. He's there with Chris Noble. We can't wait to see what comes of that battle a little bit later on. Aaron Russell is 7th. 8th is Brett Barker, David Baz, Lockhart, Brownlee, the top 10. And, I mean, from 1st to Baz, 1st to 9th, 101 points at the moment. And Matt Distill still within striking distance, 83 points the margin at the moment. But what works in his favour is drop rounds coming to play at the end of this round tonight. This is drop round week. Once we start adding that all to the matrix, it starts to make a little bit more sense for you. 2 drop rounds available at the disposal of these guys each and every week. So, each and every season, I should say. So 2 drop rounds at your disposal. Distiller's burnt both. Let's wait and see what that means as far as the championship pitch is concerned later tonight. Chris Noble and Matt Distill, the front row. Ben Woods, Guy Leach, the second. Nick Wood, Ashley, the third. Aaron Russell, David Baz, the fourth. Aidan Luthwaite and Brett Barker from row 5 as we line up on the grid here. It's only an 18-car field tonight, so we're a little bit depleted. A little bit down on numbers. 6th row is Mark Gomez and Lane Thoburn. 7th row, Greg Heaney, Adam Lavis. 8th row, John Baldwin, rather, and Troy Davidson. 9th row, Cody Deeth and Brett Bradbury. Wait to see what Cody Deeth does. He's been electric on a Monday night in the GT3s. It will be interesting to see what comes of his rear of grid start tonight and how far through the field he can push along in the course of 15 minutes here. We're moving off behind the course car now, the safety car on its way. We're at Canada Corner, so we'll make our way around to the main straight. That run up the hill will be in the hands of this guy here, Chris Noble. A man alongside him, Matt Distill, will be looking for a double tonight. Invert top 10 would normally be the case for a second race on the program for these guys, but we don't have that tonight. We only have that for the Porsches. This is an out-and-out 40-minute fight tonight, which is somewhat rare for us. We've had sprint racing in the last couple of weeks, including Laguna Seca last week. Tonight, it's 40 minutes, helter-skelter, hell for leather right off the bat. So no time for mucking around here. In excess of 20 laps of racing coming your way. No second chances tonight. 18 cars to contest the 7th round of the championship. So I guess without sprint racing, you don't have to worry about strategy play and you don't have to worry about invert situations, but you do have to worry about getting your pit lane run right and not making a rod for your own back off the start here. They're away. Spreyton side of Thursday Night Motorsport from Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. That was a magnificent start from Chris Noble, who leads the field to turn 1. What you don't also have to worry about is, I mean, the invert situation that would normally present itself with race 2 here, because we know that it's fraught with danger the early stages. As you can see here, Stillaji Bargy, David Baz forcing the issue there with Aaron Russell on the run down the back straight. And have a look at the 707. That was Aiden Luthwaite hanging out in the grass. Oh, contact. Russell hung out to dry. Sorry, Ashley's got by Aaron Russell. That should be David Baz. I'm just having a look here. Actually, no, I apologise, folks. I apologise. My timing screen has frozen again, so we're going to have problems with that throughout the course of the evening, it would seem. That's great. That's going to make it really frustrating for the next 3 hours. Hang in, folks. It'll be fun. It'll be fun. Lane Thoburn's fallen back to 12th place off the start, but I've got no idea what's going on. I'm going to have to be using the left-hand side of the screen totem pole, just like everybody at home. The SDK link has pooped itself. Down to Canada for the first time. Good start from Benny Woods. David Baz up 2 spots, Ashley back 1, Aaron Russell now back behind Aiden Luthwaite, and that's been an okay start from them. But yeah, I apologise, because it would seem as though SGK is only moving 1 second every 5 seconds. That's going to be fun. Looks like my good mate Josh Uno is actually on top of that, and he's got another link there for me, which will hopefully work. Thank you, mate. Let's see how this goes. The problem is that disappears when you log off for the night, but we'll see how we go. All right. Back straight, second time. Just bear with us here, folks. We're going to try and get this going in some way, shape or form. Because at the moment it's showing Porsche Cup from you, Josh, but that's okay. Here's Aiden Luthwaite down the inside. That's a good bit of driving from Luthwaite, up to 7th on Ashley here. So going back to the point that I was making off the top, and I'll try and make sense of everything else as we work our way through here. Apologies, I'm not sure what's going on with the thank you, Daniel Correa-Sarr now coming to the rescue as well, and I'm hoping that that will get us out of trouble for the moment. It's probably working better than the GSRC.1 link, and is so. Oh, thank God. Thank you, mate. Beautifully done. That's much better for the moment. We'll wait and see. It might not get us out of jail just yet, but we'll try. We'll see how we go. Could be that my computer's begging for a restart as well. No, it's not saying anything about that. So we'll just work with it and go from there and do as best we can. Cody Deeth, have a look at him. All right, so don't you hate that when you're having an issue off the top of the call and you're trying to refocus? Vibes of the 2023 Sydney 300 all of a sudden. Down the main straight we go. Cody Deeth in 11th has made his way through quite nicely. Aaron Russell, his next target. Russell's actually lost out a couple of spots off the start here and fallen down about 3 spots on where he started. And just to let the boys in the booth know, yeah, it's neither of them are better than the other, unfortunately. Guy Leach was showing off the road there momentarily, but that's okay. So far so good. Status quo off the start. 18 starters and 18 still running. Brett Bradbury the last of those. One thing that you will notice about racing here at Road America is that there's plenty of overtaking opportunities, but at the same time, high risk, high reward as Guy Leach comes through. on the inside. Contact. Oh, there's your first moment of the night. Guy Leach sent drivers right at turn 5. It's interesting though, because Adam Lavis in 12th place at the moment. We pick him up. Sorry folks, we're just trying to do this on the fly here tonight. Got no idea. Adam Lavis in 12th place at the moment, doing a nice job trying to follow through that chasing pack of Gomez, Russell and Thoburn. What's interesting for mine, we talk about the Road America circuit, we talk about the number of overtaking opportunities, but what you do realise as well is it's not straightforward. So, I mean, if we were to throw an invert situation at these guys, and thankfully we haven't, you would have the added pressure of trying to work your way through the field from 10th, 9th, 8th, etc. And it's not straightforward. And you know why? Because everyone's so evenly matched if they can stay in the tow. And if they can stay in close proximity to one another, A, it's hard to pull away, it's hard to build a lead, as Chris Noble's finding with Matt Distil at the moment, but it's even harder to push your way forward, as you're seeing for Aaron Russell. He's already lost a few spots in this fight. What you're also noticing is Benny Woods and Nick Wood haven't yet broken terribly clear of Aidan Luthwaite, but if they start jockeying for position here, Luthwaite will latch back on. So racing the Road America is a favourite of ours, and it's always a favourite on the calendar in terms of the drivers as well. From a spectator standpoint, we always love racing here, but it does provide these guys with a great challenge. It is not a straightforward place to go racing in terms of getting yourself a little bit of a buffer, easing the pressure on yourself, and also working your way forward. You've got to be someone like Cody Death, a bit of pace under the belt to be able to make any inroads here, and he's done that already, up into 7th position and pushing. Not much else in the way of gains and losses, with the exception of Aidan Luthwaite at this point, well worth mentioning. Strategy play will be interesting here tonight, boys. Good evening to you, welcome. We're still trying to press through the issues, but one thing I will say, yeah, Clint Collard asking if we will see rain come in. Well, I don't think so. We had some rain on the way, it looked like, in qualifying, some low-lying fog, but it has cleared. We've got a beautiful afternoon in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. Josh, Dan, good evening to you. I'm going to let someone take up the front running here whilst I get Josh's timing link back up. And it's interesting when we go racing here at Road America. We're watching Chris Noble and Matt Distil do what they do. They're you know, clearing off into the sunset, but the battle beyond that is on in earnest. You're going to have, if you make a mistake early here, you're going to pay the price for the next 30 minutes or so. What's going to be interesting is if you can avoid making mistakes and you can avoid damage, who's thinking what in terms of strategy play, because we know there will be at least one transit down pit lane in this race, a little bit of strategy to play out with regards to a splash and dash.
Yeah, well, last week we saw Luthwaite do the entire run without a stop. I think it was Luthwaite. I could be, if I'm misremembering there, but I believe it was Luthwaite that did that without actually coming in. He successfully fuel saved enough for the entire race. He goes down the inside there of Nick Wood, gets the position done. And what I was going to say was that, yeah, it doesn't look like he's doing it this time round because they're all going flat stick. You can see all four of them here. That's Luthwaite leading this pack. Nick Wood, Ashley Lear and Cody Death bringing up the back of that 4-car train, and they're all very gently catching what seems to be Ben Woods in the distance. No, sorry, that's a lapped car in front of them. Oh, no, it is Ben Woods. My mistake. My mistake. It is Ben Woods there, and it looks like Cody Death's going to try and go down the inside here of Ashley Lear. Easy done, yep. So it's another position on his belt, 11 positions gained thus far. And yeah, just to go to your point, so yeah, Fuel strategy is going to be interesting. I don't actually know. Maybe Josh can elaborate on this one. I'm not actually sure what the base strategy is going to be here. I don't know when the fuel window is going to come in. Oh, as we see, there's a penalty here. Hold on, 15-second penalty for David Baz. Yeah, then that was with the incident with Guy Leach earlier on. Yep, understood.
Down at turn 5, yeah.
Named hook in, Dan, so I'll just do it that way.
And yeah, thank you, Josh. Appreciate it, mate. So Josh is playing the role of race control, which means anything that we need to ask him, we can, because he's in our booth at the moment. Now, just to let you guys know, it's a universal problem with regards to all your timings are cocking up at the moment, which means we're in for a fun night. I don't know what's going on. It's clearly a problem at SDK's end, because I've opened the links up on the PC and the laptop, and everything's running slow and steady wins the race. Well, it's very appropriate, because I live in Queensland, and in about 6 weeks' time we will be living slow and steady behind the rest of the eastern seaboard. And there's your first bingo card ticked off for the night, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, everything's moving along quite gingerly, so I'm just going to... Oh, that's Mark Gomez being fed some wall and some sand. So I'm just going to have to go off the same monitor as everybody else. That timing screen on the left-hand side. That doesn't go down. Mark Gomez off the road once more. When it rains, it pours. And this is how it happened on the run down to Canada. So he had the move on the inside, and that was fine. But he got across into the path of the oncoming Alpha Racing entry on the exit, and that's what did him.
Oh,
I couldn't pick up whether that was Lear or Russell, to be honest with you. But here's Gomez coming down pit lane right now, completing his stop. Here's Ash Lear in the thick of it, down the inside. He's trying to get by Nick Wood, who's side by side with Cody Deeth, and Deeth goes through to 5th. Wood's there, Lear as well. It's now Russell and Thoburn that were arguing. Actually, it wasn't Lear, it was Russell and Thoburn that were arguing with David Baz over the same piece of real estate. So, the carousel and the run through on the run down to Canada. So many trip-up points around this circuit, boys. Everybody's been relatively well-behaved thus far under the 2 incidents. One for David Baz that we just saw, and of course that incident involving Brett Barker earlier. Yeah, it's been tamer than I thought it would be, if I'm honest with you. Road America tends to... So, as you said before, Road America is obviously one of those great tracks. Every time we come here, we usually get great racing. Every time they go there in real life, you tend to get really good racing, but it isn't without its dangers. And there's a lot of places around here that can catch you out, whether it's you fighting a competitor and you go a little bit too hard and crash each other out, or even if you're just fighting the track. There's a lot of corners here that bait you into going a little bit faster than you might want to go, and then the track ends up biting back. So that's actually at a minimum. There's a couple of people that have gone off track, but they seem to be just very slight track extensions, nothing major. We of course saw that one, as you alluded to, with Guy Leach. We saw that one just before with Mark Gomes, who it looks like he went just a little bit too hot on the inside and couldn't quite make the turn, and so he had to extend that wheel, and unfortunately then came across the front of the other car and went off. So other than that, my event log really doesn't seem to show too much. It is showing, actually, I don't know how I missed this, must have been during the talk we had, but it does seem as though Adam Lavis had an incident here. Let's have a look. So as they come down the hill, so usually people tend to go a little bit wide or spin the car. That's exactly what happened. It's very slow. Oh, good evasive action.
Very good there. And as Adam now just waits for everybody to get past, it's murder when you're in a car waiting for people to get past you. And then, of course, we just saw there from race control, no further action. That's low Thoburn with Mark Gomes. And maybe Josh could just elaborate as to why that's no further action. What was the
I mean, you nailed it on the head from the on the initial assessment. So, yeah, basically, the attacker went in a bit too hot, and it's their job as the overtaking car to hold a tight line. Lane on the outside was pretty much tracking all the way out to the exit, and yeah, just had his got swiped across the nose. So
Oh, Greg Heaney!
Jeez, Heaney! Whoa!
I might have cursed him then.
That's unlucky.
I went on board with him, and I did him no favors.
Down he goes to 15th.
And so that's a similar thing there, but instead he was actually just following iron. So he's gone a little bit too deep, and obviously wasn't ready for the pull up. The brakes didn't work in his favour, and they lock up, and he goes off the track. Luckily, no damage there, except his pride. But gets back on the track, nice and easy.
He'll be more focused on the Porsches tonight anyway, I would imagine, with regards to the outcome of the Whiskey Business Racing stable, and looking forward to getting his breakdown of all of that a little bit later on tonight. There's Cody Death. Oh no, that's Nick Wood, is it?
No, that's Ben Woods.
Ben Woods. I knew it was one of them. Ben leading Aiden Luthwaite, and Cody Death here has had a monster moment
done what
at
Adam
5.
Did. Yeah, wow.
And it's going to cost him 5 spots.
So I'm just going to look at that again. I have a feeling what this is a combination of the low ride height and the aero profile of these cars, because there's a lot of bouncing here. And it seems like it's unsettling the car coming into the corner and just allowing that rear to rotate. So interesting that's happening to a couple of people. Have to modulate that right foot a little bit better, or possibly going in too slow and not having enough downforce on the rear. I'd imagine it's the too fast one though.
Just to give everybody at home an update, one of my timing screens is showing this race as at 11 minutes and 48 seconds and the other at 15 and 11. So that's why I'm a little bit quieter than usual tonight. Up on the main straight, you can see all the timing information on the left-hand side of your screen there, folks. Cody Death, this is looking at Aiden Luthwaite. This is looking at P3. Cody Death from the back row of the grid to 3rd. And we haven't even got to the pit stop sequence yet. So the whole, there were 2 reasons why I was talking about the absence of the invert tonight, because we had invert racing last week. That was one of the elements of last week, and it really was challenging at Laguna Seca for these guys. But Aiden Luthwaite was a shining star in all of that. He, of course, won race 1, holding off Chris Noble. He then fought back from 10th on the grid, ran into trouble on lap 1, and got back to 2nd without stopping for fuel. He went through without a splash and dash. He did enough in terms of saving fuel and the like to get home on the smell of an oily rag and get Max as best a haul of championship points as he could last week. Won the round, had the pole position, did a beautiful job, and has firmly staked his claim as a guy to watch in this series going forward. Noble and Distiller are cut above at the moment. They're 7 seconds down the road. But Cody Death, this is his first time that we've seen him plying his trade here. This is the first time we've seen Cody Death. We normally see him on a Monday night running from the back of the grid in GT3, and that didn't go to plan on Monday night. But we normally see him plying his trade there. It's nice to see him spreading his wings and having a crack at LMP2, and so far so good. He's 7 seconds away from Chris Noble and Matt Still. It's the clearest air he's been in all night. Let's see what he makes of it. And just like that, gents, we're almost at halfway, so it'll be interesting to see too, by the way, Daniel, when we see these. I mean, we've already seen some pit stops. Some of them have been brought on by incidents, others just purely that's the way they're playing the strategy. But Gomez, Baz, Russell, Leach and Heaney have already been in on laps 6, 7, 7, 9 and 8. Now it's just a matter of when the pointy end of the field decides to exit stage right off the final corner.
Yeah, I'm not too sure what the fuel burn rate is here. I'd imagine maybe we'd be looking at them coming in around 27 minutes, 30 minutes. because usually when we see enduro rounds with these, it's always like in the last 10 minutes that they seem to come in. So we'll see if that's similar there. But as you said, everyone out the front is just running their own race here. Krishna was doing a really good job. Matt Distill is not within attack range. He's obviously past that 1 second mark, but he's held it steady. It's floated around the 1.5, 1.8. He's doing well. Cody Deeth, of course, worked his way up from the back. Now he's only 5 seconds back from those front two, and neither of those have stopped yet. So we'll see how the fuel strategies affect that. There's also been a little bit of contention there with how Cody Deeth runs his races, because he tends to not qualify and start from the back, but we all know that he's got the pace to qualify at the front. And so there's a little bit of back and forth as to whether or not it's in good spirits to burn from the stern, I think they referred to that as.
That's it. That's it.
Now, personally, it's hard for me, because let's be honest, you kind of want to watch him do it, right? But I also understand as a competitor, you might get a little bit put off when you see a man as fast as Cody Deeth in your rearview mirror. And you obviously don't want to have that feeling. You want to be able to fight. And when it goes right, it's great. When it goes wrong, then that's when we see large incidents. And we obviously don't want that. But in any case, he's kept it really, really clean thus far. And so absolute respect to him to go up 14 positions and now potentially compete for that top spot. But again, we'll have to see how the pit strategies roll out for that one. There's Ben Woods here down the inside of Brett Barker. Nice and easy. Does he make it around the corner this time? Oh, it does get sideways, but he catches it. Well done, Ben. So P7 for the 20-foot racing entry. His teammate Nick Wood just 2 positions up. Interestingly, Nick Wood started, or he is where he started. So is Ashley Lear. It looks like Lear's actually getting closer and closer now to... Actually, I need to have a look at something, because while we were talking there, Aiden Luthwaite overtook Cody Deeth.
Now, it's not every day you see that.
No, it's not.
So
and
I'm
I don't see
replay already.
I don't see an off-track entry for Cody either. So it looks like it was a fair and square overtake. Let's have a look. So Aiden Luthwaite coming into the corner here. Oh!
No, there goes Deeth wide. Deeth was wide. He got on the runoff turf, the Astro turf, and the runoff area at the exit of 5, and then Luthwaite gave him what, 4 and hung him out the right stick. That's very good for the youngster. That's all of a sudden really spiced things up in the battle for third. Down to the end of the lane, straight another lap done. Lap 13 is the one we're running now, and that's Deeth in 4th, chasing Luthwaite in 3rd, and this is exactly the point. Make a mistake, and it's costly around here. And Cody Deeth is having a harder time of this, a more troublesome time of this than he'd normally be accustomed to. All the elements of what racing at Road America is all about. It is not easy to move your way forward here.
Oh,
Big
my Lord!
5. Luthwaite now hung out the drive. Watch Luthwaite. He'll try and hang tough here. Oh, no, he backs out of it. Yields. Oh, I thought he was going to try and hold it around the outside.
Okay, so that... I mean, it was a gap, but boy, look at this. How much confidence do you have to have in your brakes to be able to pull it up? And that's respectful. There is nothing wrong with that. That was a respectful move down the inside. If you're going to leave the door open like that, admittedly, not everyone can do what Cody just did. That was really far back, and most of the time you would expect the guy on the inside to go a little bit too hot, can't pull up, lock the brakes, go straight into his competitor, take them both off. That didn't happen. Cody managed to pull that car up, and Luthwaite gave him just enough room to make that corner. And Cody's come up on top there, so it's, you know, it was a great attack from Luthwaite to capitalize on the mistake, but return serve there from Cody Deeth.
Yeah.
And it looks like Luthwaite's going to come in.
Line.
Yep.
So that's interesting, because he's going for the undercut on Deeth now. He is trying for the undercut on Cody Deeth. Main straight, Noble to still lead 7 seconds to Deeth. Luthwaite's only a second or so behind that, or was less than going into the lane. Just having a look here to see as well. I believe we've still got all 18 cars on track, which is really good. Adam Lavis to pit lane now as well. So pit lane activity now starting to unfold here. Luthwaite and Lavis. As Bradbury goes through into 8th place, that'll give you the indication of who hasn't stopped yet. It's the top 9. So half this field has stopped and half this field has not stopped.
A little bit of digging as well, guys. So we have an 80% capacity tank here on a 75 litre max tank, so that puts us at 60 litres, and average burn rate for most of these guys is sitting around 3.7, so that leaves us at around the 16 lap mark max, maybe 17. So yeah, everyone's definitely coming for a stop here.
Yeah.
Oh, I might have called it then. That means I was pretty close.
Oh boy. 7:57 Eastern Standard Time. Thursday night football underway. Manly and the Tigers. I'll have updates from that one for you throughout the evening. Good luck to everybody competing out at QR this weekend as well. A lot of motorsport happening in this part of the world this time of year. Also IndyCar from Portland Monday morning. Cannot wait to watch that one with the hangover. Because I'm off to a wedding on the weekend, and it will most likely carry on into Sunday morning, and therefore Sunday afternoon, and therefore Sunday night. Formula One's back as well. We're excited about that. NASCAR Sunday morning. Lee Diffie commentating that one, so that'll be well worth the price of admission. And of course, there's some GT Series racing down at Phillip Island as well, and they're making a big song and dance about that. MotoGP and the World Superbike still waiting for a bit more intel there, but we now know that MotoGP is not going to head to Qatar for the first round of the next 2 seasons. The Thai Grand Prix will take us to the start of the new season. 25 and 26, exciting news there earlier in the week. In the meantime, there's David Baz. 13th at the moment. 27 minutes gone, 13 to go. Lapping in the 1 minute 51s. So, I mean, make of that what you will. If you're talking a minute, if you're rounding that back to a minute 50, which is the best thing that I can do for you folks, that's 11 minutes per 6 laps. So, that's 18 in 33, plus a stop down pit lane. And probably 4 more to the checkered flag. So that means that we're probably on a trajectory for 22 laps. But don't quote me on that. Because you know that mathematics is not my strong point.
So Noble's actually been able to increase the gap on Distill as Distill actually comes into the pit lane now. So lap 16, that'll be his choice. And I think Cody Deeth staying out, so he's going out for one more round. So is Noble, and I think Nick Wood as well. Yep, Nick Wood. So I'm curious to see how who benefits here. Obviously, Noble will stay out ahead. He was more than 2 seconds ahead when Matt came in, so there's no way he undercuts him by that much. But I am curious to see Thoburn and Deeth.
What did I say? 22 laps, yeah. I'm not second guessing myself. I'm just saying that 24 would have got us to 44 minutes based on those numbers of 6 every 11 minutes. So I had to take 2 off that. And there's still some overtime attached to that, of course, with the pit lane transit, etc. But yeah, I'm pretty confident that we'll get the 22 laps. You're right, all eyes on that top end of the tree. I mean, Noble and Deeth, I think Deeth's met his match here. I think the time that he lost getting caught up in a squabble with Aidan Luthwaite is going to cost him a crack at Chris Noble here. Nick Wood, an okay recovery. Brett Bradbury at the back end of the tree. Brett, of course, on the comeback trail. Barker, that is, on the back of that incident earlier in the piece as well. Any news from race control, Josh?
No, other than Cody just punched out the fastest lap of the race, a 1:51, 2:16. And yeah, crazy consistency from Mr. Noble as well. He had the last 6 laps within 12,000th of a second spread. So yeah, he's just banging in solid laps, lap after lap. So yeah, Matt's got a job on his hands to catch him, that's for sure.
Oh, here we go. Chris and Cody coming into the lane now.
Both on pit lane. Critical point of the race.
Oh, look how far back Luthwaite is. Ooh. Wow, Cody gained some time there because he's only coming through. Yeah, wow. That's a huge gap.
It's massive. Wood, Barker, Bradbury still yet to stop as well. In they come, actually, so it looks as though everybody's in this lap. Nick Wood, Brett Barker, and Brett Bradbury,
Here's
I would
Matt
imagine.
Distill. Oh, maybe it's not that big a gap.
Here's Matty Distill. Noble on his way and moving. Distill might come down the outside here. No, he's nowhere near it. He's not close enough. I mean, he'll be there, but he won't be close enough to force the issue with Chris Noble. Noble's overcut has worked a treat. Nice. Excellent. There's Aiden Luthwaite. Oh, Luthwaite's come out right behind Nick Wood. Luthwaite to 4th. No, can't get it done. Watch him down the back straight. Luthwaite's still right there. That battle for 4th's alive and active. Deeth has come back out comfortably in 3rd, and he's only 3 seconds away from both Distill and Noble, so Deeth's the big winner in all of that. Ryan Campbell's just saying if Deeth should just be qualifying.
Yeah, and that's,
and there was a clause. There was a clause in club regs some time ago. I mean, it's obviously been updated and changed since, but there was a clause that you had to qualify. And I think he's adhering to that in the sense that he's going out there, but he's not banking a competitive number. He's banking a number that will ensure that he's down towards the back end of town.
Sandbagging.
That's what I would say.
More like cement bagging the amount he's actually...
Yeah.
8 minutes to go, boys. 8 minutes to go, thank Christ. It's been a bit of a slog with the issues that I'm having at my end with SGK Gaming and the live timing link. However, and we tried 13 of them, folks, so, and all of them were equally up the proverbial. So, 8 minutes to go. Aiden Luthwaite there in 5th, chasing Nick Wood. Ashley, Ben Woods, Brett Barker, Lane Coburn, Mark Gomez make up the top 10. Biggest move of the night thus far. Cody Deeth, unsurprisingly, 2nd biggest. Aiden Luthwaite and Brett Bradbury on 4. Aaron Russell. Now, hang on. What has happened to Aaron Russell and why is he down in 18th? Has he retired? I haven't got that information in front of me, boys.
That's a good question. Now, having a look here. I do see an entry here. Let me just have a check. So Aaron Russell seems to have gone off the track.
Uh-oh.
So what is it here?
If it's what I think it is, it'll be a monster moment.
Oh boy! Okay.
Russell's parked up and out for the night. He's done. There's no repairing that thing. He's done. Russell is out. And I'm not sure what the hell's going on there. You'd want to hope that's an equipment failure or a packet loss, because that's a spectacular exit. When he was well placed. Greg Heaney now drops to 17th. Davidson is 16th. Baldwin 15th. Bradbury, Lavis 14th and 13th. Leach is 12th. That's, yeah, a big loss, unfortunately, for Guy Leach. But still, Luthwaite all over Wood like a cheap suit here. Lear's not too far away. 3-way fight for 4th. Looming large here with 6 minutes on the clock.
My software's picked up. We have a little bit of a network connection there for Mr. Russell.
And again, there's the other side of the fence there from Jackson Rehana, just saying that if he screws up, penalise him. Look, here's the problem, because I'm 50-50 on it, because I feel like you should be able to race how you want, but the issue isn't necessarily if he screws up, penalise him. It's that I'll put it this way: it's the same criticisms that everyone has about reverse racing in the real world. which is if you have the really fast people at the back and you have the not so fast people in front of them, the chances of an incident go up. And the idea is to reduce the amount of incidents.
But this comes back to racecraft, doesn't it?
Yeah, of course. You've
got to think tactfully about it. You've got to be strategic. And I'm going to throw one more in there. I would also wager, going off Jackson Rehana's point, I'm going to support Rehana on this, but I'm going to expand on it, because normally it's not a case of him mucking up by getting interfered with somebody else. It's a, hello mate, nice to have you on board, and thank you for the kind words regarding the other series that I was commentating the other week. I think I'm allowed to let everybody know that they're actually going to run with a 3-man commentary team for their Bathurst 1000. So Sunday, September 22, I'll be back in with them as well, and I'm very grateful for that opportunity. However, going off Rehana's point, as we continue to watch Wood and Wood and Luthwaite go at it here, one thing I will say is, on Rehana's point, there have been a couple of instances where he's tried that, like Road America here the other night in the GTs. And what happened was he didn't end up cocking up somebody else's race. He ended up compromising his own. Matt Distill's fallen to third. Matt Distill has fallen to third. Cody Deeds got by, gone to second, and Matt Distill back to third. So I think it's a 50-50. Yes, if he mucks up somebody else's race, he's met with the same wrath of the knuckles that everybody else is by race control. That's given, right? But 9 times out of 10, if he gets caught up in an incident and it's not of someone else's doing, it's of his own doing, then he's already compromised. He's penalised himself. So I can see both sides of the argument there. Am I in support of it? Not necessarily. However, from a spectator standpoint, by gee, it's a great spectacle watching him charge through. So from that entertainment factor that we're all about, because that's why people keep tuning in and keep watching what we do here, I like it. From a gamesmanship standpoint, yeah, it's an interesting one. Josh, I mean, Dan's weighed in on this. I've weighed in on it. You may as well.
Yeah, sure. So, yeah, I can quote the book as such. So the GSRC rule set has absolutely nothing written there to say that you cannot race from the back. But what is written into the rules is that you've technically put yourself in that position. So if by choosing not to qualify, you put yourself at the back of the grid and you've put yourself in a position that has... what am I trying to say? It has constituted to the incident. Now I don't know what the words about going past me at the moment, a bit tired, but yeah, it's contributed to the incident, then that will weigh in on the penalty. So it's not just as clear as, you know, the yada yada 2 safety point 20 seconds. If you've put yourself in that position by not qualifying, it's going to be a heavier weighting on the penalty.
There we go. There you go. And Rain, by the way, I'm hoping that you're on the grid in the Porsche soon and just chiming in here whilst you're waiting to go qualify. We'll find out, I'm sure. In the meantime, let's focus our attention back on this race, because Chris Noble's just started lap 21. Cody Death is 4 seconds away. I think Noble's done enough to cover it off here. Next time by will be the white flag. Hello, Antonio. Great to have you tuning in at, 6 in New York this morning. Have a look at Lane Thoburn closing up here on Brett Barker, trying to have a real piece of it. 7th, still very much up there for the taking at the moment. It's the closest battle on the racetrack, and there's 3 behind these guys that are all trying to weigh in on it. Gomez, Baz and Woods, they all want a piece of it. At what point is too late for Lane Thoburn to go lunging? Bang! There it is. Thoburn to the inside. Got him. 7th. But watch everybody else just get reeled in by that. Welcome into the fight, boys. 1, 2, 3, 4, and probably 5 as well with Benny Woods. So, right here and now, Lane Thoburn has track position, but he's also got a mounting target on his back. White flag in the air, this time for Chris Noble. Should be any tick of the clock. He should be coming up to take the white flag. Yep, he's going to get one more in by the skin of his teeth. There you go. Thank you, Rain, for letting us know that you won't be on the grid tonight. That's all good. We look forward to seeing you back next week, and happy birthday to the other half. White flag out. And now Chris Noble's on his way home. So the championship leader is about to put another nail in the coffin of anyone else's hopes in this series with 3 weeks to go. Still needed a big result tonight, and it's just not going to come his way. He's second to come.
Yeah.
Whoa! Distills off the road at 1.
That's a huge damage.
And he's done.
That's huge damage.
He's done with a lap to go.
So if you track back then...
Distill's night is done. Now, it's happened before we got to the first corner. It's happened before we got to turn 1. Matt Distill coming up through 13. It's going to be the curb at 14, isn't it? Yeah, here we go. Round main straight. See ya.
Oh, no. Oh, no. So
I was expecting him to be fired into the tire wall, not the concrete, but that hurt more.
So I'm gonna bring this up. So this is actually reminiscent of something that happened in the real world with IMSA here at Road America. So he was trying to power out, and the car snapped on him. This happened to the BMW team. Admittedly, it was further down on the track, but same thing. They tried to power out. The car hopped up, shot to the left, and they ended up hitting the tyre barrier. So Matt Distill, God, that's devastating.
Indeed, indeed. There we go. The run to the checkered flag now for Chris Noble. And this championship, well, it's staring him in the face. It's there for the taking. He's got one hand on it with Distill's retirement tonight. Chris Noble withstands the pressure of both Matt Distill and Cody Deeth to get the job done at Road America. Just beautifully done. Cody Deeth in for second. Third will go to Nick Wood. Fourth to Aiden Luthwaite. So he couldn't get by in the end. Ashley will come home fifth. Oh, hang on. David Baz goes to 7th. Gomez is out of fuel, chugging up the hill.
Oh, no.
David Baz is coughing his way to the line and comes home in... Sorry, Mark Gomez, I should say, coughing his way to the line and coming home in 9th. So Thoburn and Baz both get by. So does Benny Woods. And Gomez limps across in 9th. Loses 3 spots off the final corner, and Chuggalugs home. Watch this. The cough, the splutter. So Thoburn had already got him. And there it is. He just had nothing left to give.
Oh. At least he made it, but yeah, it's got to be devastating. Oh. That's devastating.
And how many times do we see that at Road America? Every time we come here, there's someone coughing up the hill. Without fail. Noble, Deeth, Wood, Luthwaite, Lear, that was all known. Thoburn in for 6th, David Baz goes to 7th, Benny Woods to 8th, Gomez back to 9th, Guy Leach 10th, Brett Barker, Adam Lavis the next 2 home. Brett Bradbury got home in 13th, then Troy Davidson, Greg Heaney, John Baldwin. And the 2 big retirements in all of that. Matt Distill on the final lap, and that was a knock-on effect from the penultimate lap, final corner thereof. And then Aaron Russell. So 2 spectacular crashes, 2 spectacular incidents, and these cars are not cheap. So it's probably a good thing they're only virtual machines. That's what it'll mean for the championship, but of course that means very little in about 15 minutes time, because Adam Lavis will crunch the numbers after the Porsches tonight, and we'll have drop rounds and everything else being factored into consideration, and the equation will change significantly as a result of that. But at this stage, as it stands, 69 points to the good. Chris Noble on Ashley, Guy Leach is 3rd, and Lane Thoburn 4th, Adam Lavis 5th. Oh boy, Noble to Still, Death and Wood and Woods and Barker and Thoburn and Bradbury. We'll have some drivers come in and say good day to us very shortly, I'm sure. In the meantime, Josh, from a race control standpoint, a pretty easy night.
Yeah, very easy. I mean, no one called anything in. I just kind of kept my eyes peeled. There was a few incidents that I had to rule on, but yeah, no, it's great racing from everyone tonight. And I think we're noticing now that the fields have dropped off a little bit, the racing is actually getting a fair bit cleaner in the small fields. So yeah, it's good to see some tight battles, and you know, Cody going door to door through turn 4 is pretty awesome to see.
And what about that off the start? They were nearly 4 wide coming down the back straight, impersonating Formula V. It was great. The most frustrating part of all of that for me was the first 10 minutes trying to work out what the bloody hell was going on with timing. Even now, as I sit here, the timing screen is frozen at 26.5 minutes. So I think we'll give up on SDK timing for the night. In saying that, boys, well done, because you were able to help me through there. What was also interesting was Josh's point about the whittling numbers going on out there, the dwindling turnout. So far, we've got to that point. Oh, there you go. Something's happened there, and it's just come good all of a sudden. Well, I hope that's a sign of things to come for the rest of the night. We've just lost Josh for the moment. He's in seeing David Baz in race control. Daniel, interesting that he made the point about the numbers of this field slowly but surely trickling down. We're now sub 20 on the grid here. It'll be interesting to see what the committee does to address that, whether we see something new in this entree slot for the next term, or whether we'll have the LMP2 DownForce Legends returning for another crack. I mean, we get it. We're at a busy point of the year. People have got lives to live, jobs to do, etc., and so forth. But there will also be those that are throwing this in the too hard basket because they're out of championship contention. But still, unlike some of our other categories around that continue to thrive on a Monday or a Thursday night, especially, the numbers here are dwindling.
Yeah, look, there's obviously a bunch of factors, and there's going to be a bunch of factors that we're not aware of. Like you said, some people just have things going on their lives. Maybe they can't make all the sessions. But if I had to take a stab at it, I'd imagine it has a little bit to do with the fact that, yes, the LMP2s they're not as easy as some of the other cars. They go really, really fast. They feel really good to drive. But when it goes wrong, it goes horribly wrong. And for some people, that's a bit dejecting. And also, it's just another one of those things where when you start off, everybody's on 0 points, you got a chance, and then as the rounds go, and as you lose your drop rounds, some people they just lose the motivation to continue going when they realise that they just don't have enough points to make any sort of fight, which is, look, I'd be lying if I said I didn't understand it, but the problem is that you rob yourself of experience. That's how I look at it. I feel like losing is just a lesson, and you can learn from that, and you can build off that. And if you try to just remove the I guess maybe the not so great feeling of going into a competition not being able to do well, then how do you learn and get better? You sort of have to go through the grinder in order to get better. So it's a shame. I wish that, you know, those people would just stick out, because the thing is, you never know what's going to happen. Like, you just don't. You for all you know, everybody at the front could just get to a massive crash and you Bradbury your way to the front. It could happen. Is it likely? No, but it can happen. And so that's the thing. Like, you sort of was just handing it over to fate. No, that's just not how I do things. I don't really agree with that.
Fair call. No, I'm with you. We've got no drivers coming in to have a chat.
Yeah, it's a shame. But it looks like everyone's
show.
Yeah, everyone's focusing on the Porsches, I think.
We've got 25 minutes to kill. So I think the best bet for us is going to be to join everybody over in the Porsche server, I'd say. That was the incident of the race. Guy Leach, he's in having a chat with race control at the moment. There have been a couple of penalties handed down, as we've already seen. We'll analyse that in more detail a little bit later on. But it's It's interesting. Let's remind everybody, Daniel, actually, of the calendar for the final 3 rounds before we go any further. That's what's ahead of us, folks. Josh has just rejoined us here. So, yeah, only one more sprint round to come. That's at Interlagos. Next week, Fuji. Geez, we've seen a bit of Fuji in recent weeks, haven't we? Fuji next week for 40 minutes. Then on to the Interlagos circuit for 2 sprint races in round 9. That will be awesome. Unfortunately, I'm not here for either one of those. And then Daytona for 40 minutes to round us off. Which will be good fun. We love a trip to Daytona at the best of times, but it will be on the road course, which is synonymous with the Rolex 24 at Daytona. Josh, I was about to ask you about your thoughts on the before we go to a break, because obviously no one's interested in coming in and having a chat to us tonight. Before we go to a break, though, I'll just ask Daniel about his thoughts on the decline in numbers, in uptake in this series of recent weeks. That's, I think, the smallest field we've had tonight, 18 cars. Doesn't bode well for going forward, but no doubt the committee will be taking these numbers into consideration with regards to their scheduling for next term and whether we see these guys go around again in DownForce Legends.
Yeah, no, very correct. And believe it or not, we're already drafting up next season's events. So what I will say is, we've already discussed it before, but the differentiation between the platforms that are run on the same night is a big factor, I think, with a lot of people participating. So as we're loading in, I'm loading in right now to the Porsches. Sure as hell, there is no sign of an empty space on the track. There's about 40 in this server. So what that tells me is there are lots of guys that are keen to race on Thursdays, but they just want to race a car that, you know, wiggles around a little bit more than the pokey LMP2. And yeah, apart from that, all I can really allude to is it's actually quite a tricky platform to get the last few percent of performance out of. So you've got the guys that are, you know, relatively easy to drive, but then there's a big differentiation in the time between, you know, the quick guys and the not so quick guys. So when the fields are slightly declining, you know, there's less people to battle on track. So I guess it's just waning interest.
Indeed. All right, mate. Very nicely done. Thank you for your thoughts on that. Are you hanging around for the Porsches, or are you shooting through?
To be honest with you, mate, I'm backing up off a few hours sleep, and I've got another big day tomorrow. So I'm booting up to boot up SDK for your eyes, and I will leave that running in the hopes that one of ours works.
Thank you. Appreciate that. I'm not holding my breath based on what we've seen so far tonight, although it did appear to come good just towards the end of that session server just now. I'm not holding my breath though. Hey boys, thank you for the moment. We couldn't do any of this, of course, ladies and gentlemen, without the great ongoing support of people like Spreyton Cider, Waste Options, merch.tgsrc.inc, Orbic Australia, Lobesy Racing, M-Wave Australia, and Flash Graphics. So looking forward to that. Of course, the final 3 rounds of the LMP2s. I'll be back for the grand finale from Daytona, but Liam Banks will happily be deputising for me over the course of the next couple of weeks. But we are immensely appreciative of the people that were just scrolling across the bottom of your screen there, because without them, none of this is possible in terms of all the championships, all the servers, and of course all the broadcasts that we produce for you here on the platforms of the GSRC across Facebook, Twitch and YouTube. Going to a break on the way there. Manly leading the Tigers 16-6 in Thursday night football. This time next week, the Paralympics will be underway. Actually, I just had a message come in via our Discord. It says that there was 1 or 2 drivers that looks like that they've missed entering tonight by about 5 minutes, and that in its own right's an issue, and it's going to be a more problematic situation come October, because we go from having 3 civil time zones to 5 uncivil, and one of them rather unnecessarily, actually. Hello, Queensland. Nice to have you tuning in as per usual. Sort your SH1T out with regards to the Olympics, would you? We're going to a break on the platforms of GSRC, LMP2, DownForce Legends done and dusted. We're taking a break. We're coming back. Qualifying pictures will be coming in shortly for you from Zandvoort. And given the field size in there, it's going to be bloody hectic as we go sprint racing for the Porsche Cup. This could be chaotic as we get set for the 7th round of the season. Remembering that there's an invert of the top 10 in the second race, so 15 minutes and 25 minutes the race lengths tonight. It is going to be on in earnest on a track that's notoriously difficult for overtaking. Stay with us. Spreyton inside a Thursday night motorsport on the platforms of the GSRC. Thursday night motorsport for you on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club, and I think, I've got my fingers crossed, I think we've got some sort of practical method or plan of attack or troubleshooting in place, ready so that I can make sense of what's about to unfold here for you from Circuit Park Zandvoort, ladies and gentlemen, as we welcome you to the latest round of the Spreyton side of Porsche Cup. And as you can see there, it's a very cloudy, overcast looking day in the Netherlands for the 7th round of the Porsche Cup. And of course, we should remind everybody of the calendar at this point. This is round 7. There's another sprint round following this in week 10. It's super sprint, but next week is 40 minutes around Monza, and I am disappointed to be missing that one. 60 minutes around Portimao the week after. I am disappointed to be missing that one as well. And of course, the Red Bull Ring for 3 sprint races to follow that to bring the curtain down on this season of competition. Zach Cabin and Daniel Correas are with you. Spreyton side of Thursday night motorsport. Let's remind everybody the lay of the land, the layout that we're on tonight. Of course, in recent years has returned to some sort of prominence with regards to hosting the FIA Formula One World Championship, Max Verstappen, etc. and so forth. Here we are, 4.21 kilometres, the Netherlands. 22 degrees the track temp, 19 the ambient, and 99% the humidity factor at the moment, 173 degrees on that wind radar, so therefore it's 31 kilometre an hour southerly at the moment at 10:23 local circuit time, which is Central European summer time, August 21, 2024. Let's have a look at the championship standings as we venture into this round, reminding you full well that we've got 2 championships at play here. And then we've got a grid to get through as well. Matty Dench on top of the points at the moment, 112 points to the good. Oh, it's fined up. There you go. No rain in sight, ladies and gentlemen. Look at that. 112 points the advantage there. Dench plays Rogers, Sam Muir, 233, 217 for Benny Pedersen, 206 for Jake Jackson. And just clear of both Trent Allen and Angus Lawford and Dane Snadden. A little gap back then to Adam Lavis and Ryan Campbell, who's not on the grid tonight. Open split, top 5 for you. In this series, Joe Baldwin, 317. Dale Atkins, 280. Barry Punter, 274, 243 for Eduardo Zamora, and 238 for Greg Heaney. The grid for tonight. Have a look at this for 16 minutes here. 10 laps around the Circuit Park Zandvoort for Heat 1. Then Pedersen and Luke Swan front row. Sam Muir, Matt Dench second row. Dench's fourth. Wow. Wow. Daniel Benefield and Trent Allen the third row. Angus Lawford, Dane Snadden the fourth row. Ben Woods, Jackson Dial the fifth row. Jackson Dial, sorry. Simon Mezamo and Chuk Fung Wong 6th row, Mark Gomez, Shannon Fever 7th row, Jonathan Akers and Adam Burhoff 8th row, Tyson Broad, Adam Lavis 9th row, Joe Baldwin, Brett Bradbury 10th row. Great to see Joe back on the grid and feeling a lot better. 11th row, Nick Wood, Aidan Schultz, 12th row, Sean Rees and Jonathan Hooper, Lachlan Shinkfield and Craig Schultz from 13, Greg Brooks, Barry Punter 14, Russell Gander and Glenn Arnott 15. Then 16 is Greg Heaney, Dale Atkins, 17 Phil Butler, Tim Watson, 18 Tristan Koch, Bobby Commode, 19 Chris Stark and Stephen Cretton. And that's it. I'm not even sure Starkey's taking his place on the grid, just frankly. Here we go. Set for a start from Circuit Park Zandvoort. A 10-lap journey for race 1 here. And action aplenty awaits. It will be bedlam in the early stages because this is a tight racetrack, a narrow racetrack, limited overtaking opportunities, etc. and so forth. They're away. Great start from the inside from Matty Dench. We'll be looking to get up on the inside of Sam Muir on the run to turn 1. Luke Swan and Ben Patterson side by side on the run down the main straight. But it's Patterson that leads them through. Dench wasn't able to get by Muir. Side by side we go. Can we get through cleanly? Let's wait and see. No trouble. One of the risky business entries was very, very wide going through turn 1, but gathered it up, lost a spot, but it's okay. That was Jackson Dial. Dane Snadden slipped down to the top 10 as well. Top 10 invert at the end of this race, so finishing as high up the field as possible and avoiding trouble early on is paramount of importance here. Trouble at the top of the hill. Chuk Fung Wong's going off on a dirt adventure. He's gone. Plummets down the order and plummets out of contention. Not just now, but for the night. By the way, if I disappear at some point, it's only because I've won the Powerball. Simon Mazzimo, oh dear. Good evasive action taken there. Everybody was able to avoid him for the most part. Interesting addition to the field with some of our mates from 9.5 Simsport joining. Oh, no trouble at the hairpin. This could be problematic. 2 cars to the outside. Everybody else continues on. There's Tim Watson in the dirt. It's really interesting here. The way in which all the garbage has actually not blocked the racetrack. All the incidents have actually got out of the way. And we've been able to continue on. This is extraordinary. Trent Allen tucked into 7th spot there at the moment. Benny Pedersen, Luke Swan, Matty Dench and Daniel Benefield, the top 4 at the end of the opening lap. Oh dear. That was Adam Burhoff. Pointing the wrong way. And now Dane Snadden showing off the road as well. But here's the other replay. Chuk Fung Wong, that's his second adventure of the lap. And he took one of the 9.5 Simsport entries in, Tim Watson with him. Shannon Fever was also caught up. And now Sean Rees down at turn 1. Had to take evasive action. Not going to lie, I am looking forward. I am very much looking forward to the end of this broadcast and a triple episode of Home and Away, ladies and gentlemen. But I feel as though we're going to earn our keep between now and then. Thursday night football, Tigers and Sea Eagles. We'll get back to that shortly for you with an Around the Grounds update. And we continue on. In the meantime, Trent Allen in 7th spot at the moment. So Pedersen, Swan, then Dench and Benefield. Dench, it's interesting. Dench has got by Benefield. Benefield and Swan are teammates from the 9.5 Simsport stable. Mueller's lost 2 spots in all of that. And Benny Woods is up 3 spots. Mark Gomez has found his way into the top 10 to be 10th. And Tyson Broad's 11th. There have been some big winners and losers in the opening few laps, unsurprisingly, given that it is a circuit that can easily trip you up. And finding trouble is not hard to do.
Yeah, well, something happened there to Dane Snadden. Look at him, 10 positions down from the start of the race. Then in P18, I believe he ended up getting involved with Stephen Reaver.
He was on the track at one point.
When all that occurred at the hairpin. So it's unfortunate for them. Everyone at the front of the grids managed to do quite well. You can see, so if you... Those who just need a refresher, if you have a look at your timing tower, you'll notice that some of those are black, some of those are yellow, and some of those are red. Black, of course, being the Elite Cup, the yellow being the Open Split, and red being for basically unclassified TBC. So as it stands right now, Luke Swan and Benefield right up there. Mesimo was also going well, but unfortunately got tapped on the rear by Burhop. As Ben Woods locks up there. We're seeing this a lot, actually. Just locking up those tyres coming in the slower corners. So luckily, both of them avoid an incident there, but it has allowed the 4 cars behind to catch up now. So that'll be a more interesting fight here for P7, or P6 rather, since that is Ben Woods that is leading that pack there. But yeah, so it's unfortunate for Mesmo. We've also got a couple of others. We've got Kmo down the bottom there in 25th, and that is Lachlan Shinkfield in at P21.
And I've got the top 28 showing on my screen at the moment. Hello, Project 36. Good to have you on board. PGA Driver Academy leading the way from 9.5 Simsport 2 and 4. Now, it's interesting that I mentioned 9.5 Simsport. Synonymous with supercar racing. Sean McNamara and his crew. And I've been watching races involving the 9.5 Simsport stable for years. But it's great to see them plying their trade, trying their hand at Porsche Cup racing, and joining the fold of the GSRC in the process as well. Riding on board with Tyson Broad off the road. Good work gathering it up and saving it. Intense early stages here.
Here we
With the
go.
lunge. Now, it's not often you see an overtaking manoeuvre at that part of the circuit, and it still hasn't played off. Oh boy, it still hasn't paid off for Tyson Broad. Pedersen fastest over the race, 3 seconds to the good. Goodbye, Luke Swan, Matty Dench and Daniel Benefield sitting there second, third and fourth. Dench is just in damage control tonight. Does not have to pull out all stops here, can just get through it as best as he can, as trouble-free as he can, and take the championship points on offer. Does not have to throw caution to the wind, can take a cautionary sort of approach and still walk away with a championship lead rather handsomely. He's on track to wrap it up with more than a round to go at this stage. Adam Lavis, 14th. And we are in a status quo minus turn sort of rhythm at the moment.
An interesting move there from Bradbury. Unfortunately, didn't have the momentum to keep that up, so I think Greg Brooks might be able to catch him here. Yeah, looks like he's going to try and overtake him on the outside. Oh, not quite.
Very rare you see 2x2 running through that part of a circuit. Yeah. It usually blows up in smoke and ends in tears.
Oh, lock up, surely.
Yeah, big lock up at one. Massive lock up at one, off into the gravel.
And so did whoever that was behind him as well. Man, everybody's locking up. Everyone's just got a little bit too much faith in these brakes. And this is one of the things where it really, if you really think about it, it's not a surprise that people like the Porsche Cup car so much, because it's a challenge to drive, and when you get it right, the sensation is just amazing. But also, the cars look amazing, and they're fantastic to watch. They just look like racing cars. And so, from a viewer perspective, yeah, when they're on track, they just look fantastic. Not that the shape changes much with every revision, but
no, true. I got on my soapbox earlier, Dan, and pulled apart the recent news regarding the summer of cricket, and the Gabba's going to get the snub in the next couple of years off the Test match schedule, and rightly so. You know, Adelaide and Melbourne and Sydney have been locked in for 8 years through 2030, 31, and I said, well, look at it this way. There's one thing those three parts of the world, or two things that those three parts of the world have that Queensland doesn't. One is daylight saving, and two is more modern stadiums with bigger seating capacity. And someone asking me earlier what the hell daylight saving has to do with it. Well, it's a progressive and civilised format. Much like the more modern stadiums. Is the answer I'm going to give there. 6 of 10. Dench chasing Swan for second in the car race right now. And Benny Pedersen throwing caution to the wind and leading this one by 3.5. Down the inside, Mesamo on the comeback trail into 17th.
There are a couple of close fights here at the moment. Of course, the primary one is this one up here. So Matt Dench is closing in on Luke Swan here at the front. That's a really good showing from Swan as well. His first race, and as you said, part of the 9-5 stable. That'll be interesting to see. I'm always excited. I always get excited when we attract more people. And then you hear stories about it, because I'm fairly new in the Australian sim scene, I guess you could say. So I'm starting to learn about all the different teams and all the different areas, and it's really cool when you see people coming in and you hear about legacies in other leagues or formats. And so all this just means there's better talent, which means better racing. So I'm all for it. And I have to just to build on it. 3.5 seconds, Ben Pedersen. Man, whatever happened between him last season and this season, Jesus, he is just putting his best foot forward right now. And of course, we are talking about sprint races. We've got 2 of them, so there's no fuel shenanigans happening in this one. But in the second race,
there will be in the next one.
There will be.
And it'll be interesting to see who does what there, because no matter where you decide to pit, you're going to come out in some sort of traffic. So I think it's going to be interesting who decides to zig and who decides to zag, who runs long, who goes short, who wants to get out of the traffic or at the front end of the field and try for an undercut, and who thinks overcut. Because overtaking manoeuvres aren't going to be presented too easily here. And that could also trip a couple of drivers up. Could be rather interesting to see how all this plays out. We're riding with Matty Dench. And good old Luke Swan has not put a foot wrong yet. Have a look at them using the banking to the good. Lap 8 at 10, and Benny Pedersen leading this race at the moment, in control, in charge, 1:35.756. The fastest lap of the race, 36.1 for Swan, 36.0 for Dench. They're their best laps so far.
Yeah, just interesting what you were saying before about how they're using the banking. It just reminds me of I believe it was a Mario Andretti quote, where he said, they don't want me to use it as if they don't want me to race on it, don't pave it. Basically, you give any inch of a track to a driver, they will use that inch. And all the top level drivers do that. They learn how to extend and carry more speed through corners. That involves extending the track where possible. Dench is doing a really good job here, because I don't...
He's doing a great job.
Yeah, I don't think he's trying to do any sort of saving, but it does seem like he's waiting to make the overtake for a later lap.
Doesn't want to put himself under any... Oh, here we go. Swan now defending on the inside to one. Dench decides now is the time. Wants to go around. Can't get it done. Swan there in second. Hold on for now. But yeah, you're right. The gloves are off now. The elbows are out. Dench means business. He's got this and one more lap to go. The longer he leaves it, the less time he's got. But if he can execute it and hold it, he's got less time to then defend it and put himself under any added pressure. And again, he's not under any pressure whatsoever, because he's already got one hand on this championship. So he doesn't need to take any unnecessary risks tonight. And this is a high-risk circuit. We've already seen so many people bite the dust. Greg Brooks has just lost out to Joe Baldwin. Baldwin up to 13th, best place to the open split at the moment. And Adam Lavis in 12th. The two Aussie racer stablemates working together right now. Swan and Benefield are showing with red number plates and white numbers on your screen at the moment. They'll become black and yellow by this time next week. Don't worry about that. So, I mean, we've got a few new ring-ins into this series, most of them from the 9.5 SimSport stable. And where they are falling in the field at the moment will give you an indication as to where they'll be placed either in the Porsche Open or Elite Cups come this time next week. Main straight, white flag, one lap to go. Swan wants to defend the inside. Dench has a second crack at the outside. Not sure he'll be able to hold it down here at one. He's forcing the issue with Swan. He forces him to go very narrow, very tight on the exit and gets him. Have a look at that. Dench around the outside at 3 for the inside at 4. He gets it done in spectacular fashion. Now they're banging wheels on the exit of 5.
Oh, it's back to
Swan
him.
gets him back. What the hell? Swan has managed to withstand the pressure from Dench. Dench isn't having a bar of that. Now the gloves are off. Now he wants to race.
Oh, it gives him a
Swan
little
is
bit of
going to
tap.
have to do an incredible job to fend him off and keep him at bay here. Have a look at this. This is awesome. Dench to go. I reckon he'll try the inside at the next corner. Although there's a bit of blinky bill happening for Swan, so he's got to be mindful of that. He's not going to be close enough to have a crack at the left-hander. It's the end of the back, straight or nothing for Matty Dench. I think he's lost his chance. That chance has gone begging. Swan, in the most extraordinary fashion, has found a way to fend off the best in the business, the Dench mark, who will have to settle for third. Benny Pedersen, magnificent at Zandvoort. round the final corner, onto the main straight. Job done in race 1. Checkered flag is out for him. Second will go to Swan, the third to Dench, then Benefield and Muir. That was unfortunate for Muir, dropped 2 spots, couldn't get it back. Then Woods to Walford, Broad got up to 8th, up 9 spots, that's extraordinary. Jackson Dahl, Mark Gomez the top 10, Gomez the invert pole, Wood and Lavis will be 11 and 12. Joe Baldwin's going to come through 13th across the line. Or is he? Have a look at this. Greg Brooks wants 13th back on Joe Baldwin. Can't get it. Baldwin gets 13th and the win in the open split. Brooks, Mesamo, then Bradbury, Snadden, Shinkfield, then Heaney and Allen make up the top 20. This was extraordinary. Have a look at that. Denchi threw everything at it, but it was this little moment here, this little bobble on the exit of the right-hander. Watch the slide, watch the control, watch the grab. He caught it. And I'll tell you what, there's a lot that wouldn't have been able to do.
That was actually very, very smart there from Luke Swan, actually, in that whole procession, simply because by holding that inside line, what that allowed him to do meant that he would be on the outside for the carousel, which meant that he could carry more momentum, which is why he was able to fight his way all the way up that hill and down. Ditch gave it a hell of a punch right at the end there, but unfortunately Luke did manage to hold on and he'll take second. Ben Pedersen, he was probably smiling ear to ear looking at that delta, seeing that those guys, 5.9 seconds he won that race by. So all that fight managed to increase that lead. And as we switch over to the second race, look at the fog.
So the fog is here. Is the rain going to follow in race 2? Oh, here we go. That you're right, David Lawler. That was one hell of a fight. One hell of a race, one hell of a scrap. Great contest between Luke Swan and Matty Dench. Magnificent from Swan. I mean, it's very rare that Dench is beaten in his own game, and it's very rare that we see Denchy have to race hard like that, but to actually witness it and see one get the better of him, well, it's proof that he is human. Occasionally he lets slip that he is human. It's not normal. It's not. It's very rare. It's not a common occurrence. Magnificent racing. We now wait to see what comes of race 2. 27 minutes on the clock for this one, and that will up us to. Geez, there'll probably be another 7 laps on the.
It's a 16-lap race. These are lap races. Yeah. So the 16 laps, and of course reverse 10 top. Reverse grid top 10. Yeah.
Interesting. So 10 in 16. I would have thought you'd easily get another 7 out of that. But anyway, that's all right. Actually. No, it'll be close. It'll be close with that run down pit lane. It'll be close. Joe Baldwin joins us. Race 1 open split winner, mate. Well done. Nice return to form. Nice return to the seat.
Yeah, thank you. No, it's that was a pretty good race. The opening lap or two, I think the switch between the cold track in qualifying to the warm track in the race, so that was 38 degrees, I think. We never even had practice or quali on that. So I think the hot track might have just caught a few of the guys out. I didn't even realise till we were on sort of lap 3. And I was like, oh, hot track, I better just back it up a bit. And I just tried to let the open guys go and run my own race. I've had a pretty good run this season, so hopefully we can keep it going for this race as well and just stay out of trouble, mate, get a result.
Yeah. Staying out of trouble is the hard part. Go well, mate. They're lining up on the grid now. Good luck.
We are. Thanks, guys. See you at the back end.
Indeed you will. There he is, Joe Baldwin. Thank you, mate. Mark Gomez, Jackson Dahl, front row. Second row, Tyson Broad, Angus Lawford. Third row, Ben Wood, Sam Muir. Fourth row, Daniel Benefit or Matty Dedge. Fifth row, Luke Swan, Ben Pedersen. The 6th row will be Nick Wood and Adam Lavis. 7th row, Joe Baldwin and Greg Brooks. 8th row, Simon Mesimo and Brett Bradbury. 9th row, Dane Snadden, Lachlan Shinkfield. So Mesimo and Snadden will be the ones to watch there trying to get their way back into the top 10. Greg Heating and Trent Allen make up the 10th row. 11th row, Adam Burhoff, Dale Atkins. 12th row, Jonathan Hooper, Craig Schultz. Bobby Camo, Russell Gander from row 13. Chook Fung Wong had a shocker in the opening lap and it cost him to the remainder of the night, and Philip Butler alongside him. Lights out, away we go, set to rock and roll. 27 minutes or 16 laps. I reckon we'll finish just ahead of the 27 minutes just quietly on the run to turn 1 on the basis of 16 laps. Let's go. Beautiful start from Gomez and Broad side by side. Broad's got his nose in front. Cleanly. Jackson Dahl lost 2 spots off the line, got swamped at the start. Trouble there for Tyson Broad on the exit of turn 4, and that will make it very interesting. He's got a rod, he's got a target on his back now as he makes his way through. Look at Matty Dench already up to 5th, and there's trouble at the back. There's an enormous crash at the back. Half the field's come through and half of it's been left behind. Let's have a look at this again. Adam Lavis has been dished up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Coming back onto the track. They did well. They did well. I thought there was going to be more carnage than that. I just saw the smoke and the steam going to one side. But thankfully, not as bad as we thought it might have been. Certainly bad for Adam Lavis and a few others around him, though. 1 of 16. Yeah, I'm still leaning towards finishing this race in time rather than going into overtime like we normally do. Aidan Schultz is in the commentary box far too early.
Yeah, good evening, mate. That one didn't go to plan tonight, did it?
No. Mate, I must say I'm having troubles at my end with timing and a few other things, so I didn't actually see what happened. You talk us through it.
Oh, mate, just... no one to blame but myself in the first one. Like, I was going all right, quickest in practice in class, and then 3rd in the qualifying, and made a mistake there when we were going through all those crashes. A lot of cars around this track is going to cause this sometimes, which is unfortunate. And then in the second one, a lot of crashes early, and I navigated through it, and then I just got on the brakes coming into, I think it was the 4th turn, and she just turned around on me and gone. So it was the night of what could have been, but I just thought I'd just jump up and say hello.
Mate, you're welcome to stay and have a chat with us for the next short while if you like. Craig Bond's got a good point. Even that crash wouldn't have brought out a red flag in F1 23 career mode. You're right. Craig and I are doing a 2-player online career mode at the moment into season number 3. Season 1 was all right. Season 2 was a write-off. Season 3 is going not too bad, but we're only at the halfway mark. And every time you need to try and manufacture artificially a safety car or something, Tyson Broad locks it up on the run to the chicane. A safety car or a red flag to help you out and get back in the game from a strategic standpoint. Do you think you can get one? No, you usually end up getting fenced or end up getting a virtual safety car or a safety car, but not the red flag. Good point, mate. Nice to have you on board as per usual. Round onto the main straight we go. Matty Dench, what about this guy? Matty Dench already up to 3rd. Make it 2nd on the run down to turn 1. Dench down the inside of Woods. Dench on a track that is notoriously difficult to overtake on has got his way to 2nd, and we're only at the start of lap 3. Superhuman from this bloke, and now goes out in pursuit of Mark Gomez. And I tell you what, from this standpoint, Schultze, you've seen enough of this guy to know what I'm talking about here. It's a case of catch me if you can.
Yeah, 100%, mate. He is absolutely amazing in this car, and let alone every other car, so no surprise to see him at the front. But he hasn't had his own way tonight. He's got a couple of people in front of him, or he's had a couple of people, now he's in 2nd, so a couple of hard hitters. And how good is it to have such a big field here around Zandvoort tonight?
Well, I'm not sure if it's great for you guys, but it's certainly good from a spectator standpoint because, I mean, it's log jam traffic, but from our standpoint, it means that we've not had a shortage or a lull of anything to talk about. Benny Pedersen fires it down the inside of Jackson Dahl for 4th. No! Dahl gets it inside of Pedersen. Pep the gravel. Pedersen's plummeting down the order. and will be stuck stationary trying to get back onto the circuit, and does so, but he's now outside the top 15. And Jackson Dole knew he was at fault immediately because he has redressed that on circuit, and he's dropped down outside the top 15 as
he even
well.
got spun too.
This is chaotic.
Hey, who's doing really well in this one at the moment here, Zachy? Ben Woods up in second position up behind Mark. So Woodsy having a good run tonight.
And Benny, Adam Burhop up 12 spots as well into the top 10. Chook Fung Wong up 16. Chook's up 16 spots. What about this? And here goes Benny Patterson firing it down the inside of the comeback trail now. Can he go to 15? Yes, he can.
My
You're right, mate.
apologies
All
there,
good.
Zach. I was just, my live timing was trying to catch up, so Woodsy back in third. So my apologies.
Shorty, I could write a book on the frustration of live timing tonight, mate. Don't worry about that. SDK will be getting a rocket from me at the end of the broadcast, but thanks to Josh Zuno for feeding me a live SDK timing link, courtesy of the fact that he's logged into the server. I can't log into the server. I don't have an iRacing subscription, so that's literally the only way I'm able to keep tabs on it tonight, between him and Daniel Correa Sar's live totem poll that everyone's seeing at home. But yeah, something seriously wrong with SDK Gaming tonight, and a rocket incoming at the end of the broadcast. However, in saying that, Sam Muir in 8th spot at the moment, doing a nice job. In behind, Luke Swan and Angus Lawford. Bannerfield's up just ahead of them, and they're all chasing Ben Woods and Tyson Broad. Yeah, Schultz, you did well to avoid the crash at the start of race 2 there, and then cold tyres, and it just steered you hard right.
Yeah, don't really know what happened there, mate, to be honest. Didn't really touch the brake at all. Just was cruising into the corner, and next minute I'm pivoting hard right and I'm facing the wrong direction. So, you know, a night that had so much promise. Obviously, that's motor racing and it happens. And tell you what, I had a hell of a lot of fun doing it, and it's good to see these guys at the front running hard. And it was just good to be around these guys and to be able to not punch the same lap times, but be up around them. So, yeah, it was good. It's really good to see Trucker up there at the front in the open class as well. So he's had a really good solid night tonight after winning the first heat race. It looks like he may duplicate that in the second one. Long way to go. But the fight's on at the front at the moment. And Sam Muir, don't be surprised to see him make his way forward in the race as well. We all know he's a superstar in this car, in the 1.9 car. So Sam Muir in the 8th position, chasing down Angus Lawford. So Sam Muir, don't be surprised we see him make his way forward. But I think Denchi and Mark Gomez at the front is going to be the one to watch.
Indeed. Now, the other point of interest here as well, mate, have a look at this. Denchi straight up around the outside, job done on Gomez. And Denchi's on his way to another...
Hold on.
Oh, hang on. Gomez wants to force the issue, but Denchi will have the inside line for the chicane. And once he does, it's goodbye. See you later. Check out and catch you next week. Gomez!
But...
To his credit, Mark Gomez is making Denchi work for it, just like Luke Swan did earlier. And Denchi finally gets away by Mark Gomez. That is Mark Gomez's highlight reel for the season right there.
Hold on, I need to check something. One second.
All right.
Yep, helmet checks out.
Yeah, correct. That is extraordinary from Gomez, still forcing the issue again on the run to turn 1. Credit to him, he's not giving up without a fight here. Dench might be just playing the game with him at the moment. That is magnificent from Mark Gomez to force the issue with Denchi, play cat and fiddle, and yeah, that's the story he dines out on for the rest of the season as far as I'm concerned. Hey, Schultzy, one thing I wanted to ask you about, mate, is I logged into the server tonight and I saw a name that a team name that we are quite familiar with from the early days of my sim racing broadcasting career over on SimShed, actually. 95 Sim Sport. Nice to have them on the platforms of the GSRC.
Yeah, of course, mate. Always good to have them part. They're a stalwart in the iRacing community and do a great job in the Logitech Pro and everything going on there. So they're really good. So good to see them in supporting the GSRC here in the Porsche Cup here on the platform. Ooh. So yeah, it's really good, mate. It's good to see them in here, and no surprise to see them up or see the driver up towards the front. But I'll tell you what, it just goes to show that as we've got the
there we go. So that's Barry Punter out of the 14th position. He's pirouetted on the exit of the left-hand hairpin. And we're being reliably informed there was an incident for Tyson Broad as well, and he's dropped down to 21st. So we need to have a look at that in due course. A lot happening in a very short period of time on a Thursday night on the platforms of the GSRC. And Schultzy, when you're not running the Porsche, what's keeping you busy at the moment, please?
Oh, mate, just doing a lot through the workspace at the moment. I'm enjoying the supercars in the Super 3, doing a bit of that. I haven't really been able to do the GT3, which I really like, which you know that as well. So, hey, just trying to be there where I can and circulating and having fun. But haven't really committed to anything this season, so outside of the supercar, which is weird because I absolutely hate driving that car, so go figure. But yeah, just trying to navigate through season 3, and we'll have a good stint for season 4 as we let you call this little battle, mate.
Yeah, brought on the comeback trail, mate. Oh, jeez.
He caught
19th spot is where he goes to, and Glenn Ardett nearly ended up taking both of them exit stage right into the tyre wall. He was inside Glenn Ardett's car at one point, I'm sure of it. Matty Dench leads, 1.2 to Gomez, then Woods under pressure from Benefeld and Swan, the 9.5 Sim Sport boys ganging up on Twitchy Foot. And yeah, you're right, Project 36 makes a very good point. Great to see a few big names associated with the GSRC. Synergy Sim Racing, the other one, of course, and Drop Bear now as well. With, of course, Synergy is the synonymous with Brenton Hobson's stable. We love Hobbo. It's great to have him on board on a Monday night running in the supercars. And it's nice to see him occasionally work for one, because nine times out of 10 he comes in here and you're already considering the fight for second, the battle for the minors. But he hasn't had it all his own way this season, which has been good for him and for us as well. Luke Swan gets by Ben Woods, keeps him back in 5th. So Benefield and Swan continue their charge through. Go for it, Aiden.
How good do those 9.5 cars look? Like you just mentioned earlier, mate, it's good to see them in the GSRC, and they're up there in the high levels of iRacing, and iRacing is a really good platform, and it's amazing of what we've seen in iRacing to allow the general punter to be able to be up there in a really high level, and especially affiliated with Motorsport Australia and some of the things that they do as well, and to see them back here across in the GSRC having a night, it's really good. But I tell you what, the cream rises to the top, and Denchi 1.3 seconds in the lead.
Actually, you make a good point. I'm not sure whether we should be having this conversation on air, but bugger it. And of course, Project 36 as well. Yeah, don't sell yourselves short, boys. Angus Lawford there in 7th spot at the moment, doing a nice job. Pit lane sequence not too far away. We're at the end of lap 8 now, this time by, and Matty Dench will take us around onto the main straight to get us to half race distance. And I stand by my statement. I believe we're going to run short of that 27-minute marker here, because Denchi's coming across the line bang on 13 minutes. Now, hoping to make Watkins V8s on Monday is Slady's advice here on Monday. Life has been crazy late, mate. I'm hearing you. You're preaching to the converted. Speaking of preaching to the converted, Aiden Schultz, I need to wind the clock back about 7 or 8 days. Actually, it's to give you an indication as to how bloody quick this year's going. I reckon it's probably 2 weeks. My Facebook ignited with a fair bit of banter between you, Chris Whitaker, and somebody else that will remain nameless, as we have a look at Stephen Cretton going down on the inside to turn 1 in 11th spot. Oh, look at that from Cretton, and got the elbows out behind him. One of the Whiskey Business stable is standing in the centre of the road.
God, he almost took him out.
Not able to go anywhere. I think it might have been Dane Snadden, and around goes Cretton as well. Porsche's doing Porsche things in the Netherlands. Oh, jeez. Coming out of that 4th corner blind, this was Lachlan Shinkfield. Oh, okay, it didn't take Greg Heaney long to get the checkbook out for Lachlan. Have a look at that. Have a look at that. The team just continues to grow. How lucky did the Twitchy Foot car get there? My goodness. I can't even tell you who that was, to be perfectly honest. I think it was Glenn Arnott, I believe it was Glenn Arnott, got very, very lucky there. Yeah, extraordinary. Schultz, just tidy this up. We won't delve into too much info here. Ben Pedersen having a moment up at 4, down the inside. Oh no, locked it up, lost 2 spots. Went for 1, lost 2. Rain Campbell saying that he's been bedridden since Monday. Yeah, no good. No good. But yeah, we're loving the racing indeed tonight. It has been, actually, to be honest, and Craig will verify this because I know he's tuning in and he'll happily comment. I wasn't terribly pumped and enthused and excited about Zandvoort, but thankfully, it's actually exceeded my expectations as Jonathan Hooper comes to pit lane, and here comes Russell Gander as well. Pit lane now becoming very, very busy, and mainly because of the nature of the circuit. It is a little bit Mickey Mouse, but in saying that, Schultz, with enough cars out there, we've had no shortage of action, and I think that's the most important part here. Attendance means that you've got no shortage of content to talk about because there's always something going on. If we had a disappointing turnout like what we did at Road America for LMP2, it could have been as stale as a bottle of urine. Thankfully, that hasn't been the case. But I'll get your thoughts on that. And also, I need to get your thoughts on, Schinkfeld, and there goes Cronin again. I'll get your thoughts on that. The reality of the matter is that even though iRacing has managed to, cement itself as the preeminent virtual racing platform in the world over the last few years, and it's further rammed that point home because of COVID and other factors, and it's enjoyed great growth in terms of participation, but also an audience. There are still a few people that you just can't convert to the idea, can you?
Yeah, you can't, mate, and you can't control other people's opinions. Everyone's entitled to it, but at the end of the day, there's, Mozzie does no social hate, and there's a lot of people in through the social platforms that we all participate in. Of course, I know you personally and talk to you and stuff like that, but
Yep.
It's just not. I'm not going to go into the details of what happened, but this is the best platform to enjoy your racing, and it gives people an opportunity to go motorsport racing that generally, and a lot of these guys race in the real world as well, as I have, but it does give people an opportunity to be able to go racing and race against some of the best sim racers in the world and some of the best drivers, like just in a NASCAR series that I'm a part of, Shane Van Gisbergen was there the other night racing it, right? So usually you don't even get to talk to those guys, let alone touching panels in a virtual thing. So people have their opinions, and that's okay, they're entitled to it, but you know what, this is a good platform, it's what we enjoy, and we just need to do it, and we're seeing that at the moment as Denchi's leading by an absolute margin at the front now by 5.2 seconds, and no surprise here, Zach. He's doesn't have the number 1 on the car for no reason as he goes into pit lane, and he's done a great job. He didn't struggle, but he didn't have it his own way in race 1, coming home in P3, but he's showing his wares now.
Oh, indeed. Pit lane is a hub of activity. Mark Gomez has come back out in 6th spot, going along quite nicely. Best of those 2 have stopped thus far. It'll be interesting to see what happens here as Muir, Benefield and Woods and Swan make their way back out onto the racetrack. Can Gomez capitalise on his good start here? Yes, he can. Out in front of Swan, but he hasn't got the Benefield. In fact, he's going to come out right in the middle of the 2 9.5 SimSport entries, and then Muir and Broad as well. Broad, a good comeback this from Broad. Back up into 6th. Stopped on lap 5 after that moment, and back up there nicely.
And it'll be interesting to see what Gomez does here, Zach, as well, because he wouldn't have taken tyres through that stop. It would have been pure fuel, so that's a fuel drop jump there by Benefield in front, so that is for position, so he's not going to have fresher tyres or anything to be able to fight. He does have the draft to be able to drag up onto the back. His 9.5 SimSports teammate Luke Swan in the background there in P number 4 as well. Denchi well up the road, 6 seconds just gone. This is the battle for the minors here on track, ladies and gentlemen. So Benefield, Gomez and Swan are the 9.5 SimSports guys going to be able to battle together and try and gang up on Gomez, but this is Gomez battle for the minor places here by the looks of it, with only, I'd suggest, about 5 or 6 minutes to go.
Indeed. And the first thing there's three things I'm doing once we get off air here, boys. One is having dinner, two is watching Home and Away, but they will be preceded by checking my Powerball ticket, because the 100 million has gone off tonight. The 100 million Powerball has gone off.
Did you get my message where I've got to get 10% of your winnings?
Mate, the whole club could have 10% of the winnings if I... But have a look at this in the meantime. Gomez wide went to Swan. They're chasing Benefield. Dench is there, the race leader. 1:35.761. 7 minutes to go. We're on the fourth last lap. That was a big send. Gomez barely pulled it up. Jeez, he's right in this and having the time of his life tonight. Staring down the possibility of a podium finish. Benefield's chasing. They've got lap traffic ahead. That could be a key element. Oh, lap traffic sees itself out to the left-hand side. I was going to say, watch for lap traffic to play its part and make or break someone's night, because it's that sort of racetrack where it's very hard to get out of the road and give way. And we saw evidence of that on your screen, because the only way to give way was to go to the grass.
Yeah, and we see that, and we mentioned on the thing we were speaking about earlier with the post, like, have a look at this racing. It's amazing. It's not easy, and I can tell you, I've just been in the car, and I don't think I'm no mug. I'm definitely not at the level of these guys, but you have a look at the racing. It takes a lot of concentration and a lot of ability, and these guys are doing a great job at the front. The 9.5 guys in second and fourth, absolutely giving hell to Gomez at the moment, as Gomez goes a little bit wide there coming onto the main straight, so that's going to make him very vulnerable down into turn number one, Zach.
And well, I'll put you out of your misery now, Shorty. I didn't win. The Powerball was 6. I had every number but.
I get 10% of zero.
Yeah, 10% of zero. I mean, I might have a prize, but you've got to have 4. I think it's 4 numbers in the supplementaries to then even be eligible for a prize without the Powerball. So, fat bleeping chance.
You might have enough to go and get a can of Coke tomorrow, mate.
Oh, mate, I'd settle for a nice coffee. I'll need one on Sunday, don't worry about that. Wedding Saturday night, hangover Sunday is the plan, the equation for this weekend if everything goes to plan. What about this for a drive from Mark Gomez? Under pressure from Luke Swan at the moment. What sort of a role does Benefield play in this as well, considering that he's got a teammate there to worry about in fourth? I think the best plan of attack for him might be to just focus on his own race at the moment, and he's doing just that. But Gomez is giving good chase. Muir is 5th. Broad a great comeback. Adam Burhop up in 7th from 21st on the grid. That's a great story. Chook Fung Long up 17 spots from 27th on the grid. Equally as good a story. Strategy has worked out for a few of these guys tonight. Joe Baldwin remains the best place to the open split, having just been passed by Trent Allen. He is 15th, and this is what happened to Greg Heaney. Caught the curb, and then caught the gravel, and then caught the Armco. The hat trick.
Unfortunate there from Greg Heaney. It's very easy to do that around this track. You really need to try and collect as much as you can without too much, because there is a big sausage strip on the inside of that, and it can just lift the inside of the car, and it looks like he just got a little bit too much of it, and that sent him in the wall. But this battle at the front between Benefield, Gomez and Swan. Benefield, as he said earlier, he needs to just sort of concentrate on the front, and you can see him just slowly eking that gap out in between. But Gomez, as you did mention, doing a great job, but a big run now from Swan out of that curve, and you've really got to use the outside there to try and get the run. He's going to do that. He's not going to be able to make a pass up through here. He's going to try and set him up as they go through this right-hander, very fast right-hander in 3rd gear up into 4th, and then back into 3rd down into here, right up in behind him. He's actually nearly in the back seat of the Porsche. So Swan at the moment looking really racy in behind the Gomez, but Gomez doing a great job holding him off at the moment as we're getting into the final stage of this race.
And having just checked out the rest of the numbers, when I can happily tell you it was 10% of nothing as well. I had 4 numbers on one line. Turns out you need 5 without the Powerball to get a prize, and it would have been a substantial prize as well. But anyway, it is what it is.
It was 0% of nothing.
Exactly. I had three without the Powerball on one line, on two lines, and 4 without the Powerball on a third line. I had all the numbers, but none of the luck.
Just a little bit to go back on, Zachy.
Yes, mate.
Sam Muir, he was in 10th when we were talking before the pit stop cycle. He's now up into 5th, and he's not in the battle to be able to fight for the podiums at the moment, but he's up into 5th, just in the background there, in that 1-9 car. So he's done a great job to be able to capitalise on his pit stop strategy, to be able to get up into P5 as the car's coming out of pit lane there. But this battle for 3rd and 4th at the moment is definitely heating up as we're getting into the pointy end of this race.
And if they can latch back on to Benefield, it's the battle for second. It'll be a three-way fight for second. Denchi's 8.5 to the good. This is the final lap. I told you we'd going to fall inside the 27-minute number. So this is it. This is
I think he's going to have a go, Zach. He's going to have a go. He's going to have a go.
Has to. Benefield is clear. Gomez is chasing. Swan not leaving anything on the table. There it is. There's a little nudge. Bump and rub. Let's wait and see. Gomez shuts the door. Three-way fight to the checkered flag. Drenchy's going to get himself another race win. Another round win. Oh! Contact. 1, 2, 3. Basil gets through on the inside. It's going to be side by side with Benefield down the back straight. Benefield can't move across to cover it off. Baz was too far up. Sorry, Gomez was too far up the outside. Up the outside to the chicane. Contact gone. And now all of a sudden back under pressure from Swan once more. Matty Dench too good once more in the Netherlands. Dench gets the job done. 3rd in race 1, 1st in race 2. That will be round on as far as I can tell, based on the fact that Benny Pedersen's down in 7th. 2nd will go to Benefield. Gomez was brilliant. 4th to Swan. Muir and Broad. Muir got 5th. Broad narrowly missed out. Come home in 6th. Pedersen a long way back. Woods was 8th. Burhop gets home in 9th, just out of Dane Snadden and Chook Fung Long. Great drive from both Burhop and Chook Fung Long. Snadden up 7 spots as well. But Dench finds a way to prevail yet again. Prevails on a challenging night, but it's a night, gentlemen, that will just about ensure title number 10 is coming his way in 3 weeks' time.
Yeah, what absolute superstar he is, Matt Dench. Like I said earlier, in race 1, he didn't have his own way. He was just feeling it out and what he'd do in the feature race after coming 3rd in the first one. Or second or third. Anyway, he didn't get the win in race number 1, but he was a class above, as he usually is here in the feature race. But I tell you what, that race between Benefield and the likes, the two 9.5 Sim Sports guys and Gomez, that was something to watch. A track that's usually hard to pass created some good racing. Of course, there was a lot of incidents tonight, and people aren't going to be happy about some things, but I can tell you, it's not that easy. But how good was that here for the next round of the Porsche Cup here on the Gentleman Sim Racing Club? And it was great to be able to just jump in here for a little bit tonight, Zach, and have a little bit of chat to you, even though I wasn't racing, but I found myself commentating, and I didn't even think I was going to.
No, I didn't think you were going to either, but we appreciated the fact that, well raced by a couple of new drivers. Yeah, exactly, Dave. Well pointed out by you, but congrats to Denchi as per usual. A 3rd and a 1st, and really, I mean, with race 1, that was damage control. He went for 2nd. The 3rd was good enough. He'll get the round just ahead of Pedersen if I've done my numbers right. And he got the fastest lap of the race as well, 1:35.761. He always finds a way. He prevails under extraordinary pressure, but again puts one hand on the title. Dench, Benefield, Gomez, Swan, Muir, Broad, Pedersen, Wood, Burhop, Snadden, the top 10. There's some good stories right through there. Lawford, Fung Long, Baldwin, Allen and Rees. Baldwin the best of the open split again. Punter was 16, Cooper, Wood, Mesimo and Akers. So Baldwin does the double in the open split, but it's a win split between Pedersen and Dench in the pro split, the elite split. Denchi's lead will balloon out to an extraordinary margin. Have a look at that, 143 points. So, I mean, one hand and 3 fingers on the title at this point for Matty Dench. not much is getting in the way of him and title number 10. Let's just put it that way. No, you're right, Schultzy, mate. I would have much preferred to see you last more than a lap in the feature race there. But nice that you're able to still see out the race from our commentary box here, and obviously nice to catch up, but also more importantly, and most importantly for the audience at home, nice to get some insights from you as a racer that knows what this cape is all about, rather than just listening to the same two voices carry on week in, week out like Dan and I usually do.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, mate. And as I said, I jumped up just to have a chat, but ended up commentating. But it was good to be having a bit of a commentary box booth with you, or in the booth with you, and having fun. It was great racing by everyone tonight here around Zandvoort for the GSRC, and a big congratulations to Joe tonight in the open class. He did a great job up the front. I wish I would have had something for him. I was there or thereabouts, and I just literally nuffed it. So anyway, mate, I'll let you go and finish the post-race festivities, and I appreciate you letting me up here, mate, and I'll talk to you shortly.
Well, actually, I'm pretty sure you have access to let yourself in still, so that was very nice of you to be able to do that for us. We're about to move into the Whiskey Business Racing post-race show, and I say that because Greg Heaney's here, and we'll get a report on about half the field in a moment. But as you do, Schultzy, no, I appreciate it, mate, and hopefully we'll see you back on track on Monday night and actually last out the round here next Thursday night. I think the other reason why, well, you weren't expecting to stay the whole way through, but you couldn't leave because it was too absorbing to just park up and go elsewhere. You had to stay glued to your seat to enjoy the spectacle that was.
Mate, it's not about me. I just love the race and love the club and love getting amongst it. So it's not about the result. I haven't run Porsche Cup much this season. I don't think I've run it maybe once or twice or whatever. So I was surprised that I was passing in practice and in the top 3 in the open class in qualifying, and ran out of ability. But yeah, I'll try and be back here next Thursday. I'll be here for the supercars. But no, I just love it, mate. Love talking about racing. You know how much I love racing, and I thought, why not give back to the club, because they give so much to us.
Indeed, mate. Thank you. Appreciate that. Now, just for the benefit of everybody at home, they've all been in this race. They don't know. Most of us had a ticket in the Powerball tonight worth 100 mil. It was won by a Queensland entry, but it wasn't me. So I'll be here tomorrow night still. The numbers that you needed were 4, 10, 11, 16, 18, 23 and 24. Like, I mean, just rubbish numbers, really. And a Powerball of 6. And I had every number except the Powerball. Essentially across all the lines, I just didn't have a Powerball number. So I lost out on a fair bit of coin there because of the main ingredient required being the Powerball number. So hopefully everybody else has grabbed something of the prize pool out of all of that, but I did not pick up a bloody cent, and I'm already regretting spending the $16 on the ticket, quite frankly. We'll see how Oz Lotto goes on Tuesday night, and hopefully that wasn't a waste of $17.50 either. It's worth 20 mil, by the way. Gamble responsibly, folks. Tim Watson's here, Joe Baldwin's here, Greg Heaney's here, and Greg.
Yes. How you going?
Nice to have you on board. I'm well, mate. Let's just firstly cover off a couple of things here. That didn't exactly go well for you in the LMP2. We saw you pointing backwards at one point or another at Road America. But then we see you in a little bit of trouble here at Zandvoort as well, at that tricky little hairpin at the end of the back straight. However, everywhere you look, there was something to be absorbed by tonight. You guys worked hard over the course of that 2-race program, and anyone that did the 40 minutes at Road America, I tell you what, they'd be huffing and puffing by the end of all of that. That's been a busy night at the office.
Oh yeah, always is, particularly going from a high downforce spec car to a Porsche Cup car. No, from what I heard, because I had we had just about everybody that was on stream tonight in comms tonight, and so was my brother. He was watching the stream. He's like, they just put the mocker on him because he's turned around. Apparently, you called me out, or you guys were watching me just as I almost killed Guy Leach coming into Canada Corner at Road America. And I had no choice but to pinch the brakes and avoid him, otherwise we were both into the fence.
Oh, no.
So I fell on my own sword and took one to not destroy Guy's race, and I destroyed my own instead. But no, yeah, definitely an interesting double to do, being you go from a lot of downforce and a heavy feeling car to a car that feels like it doesn't even stick to the road. But no, it's well done to everybody from our guys that made it through. Not entirely sure what happened to Jackson. I know he was being rather vocal on comms in relation to being squeezed and then, or turned, and then whatever happened after that. So I have a feeling there may be a request for a review going to the stewards post-race for that incident. I'm not entirely sure. I haven't seen it myself. But I was also told that you called me out again because Lockie was put on stream and he's wearing our colours, and it doesn't take me long.
No, not at all. I mean, your ability to pounce is impeccable. I don't think there's anyone in the club. There's the moment that we were looking at earlier. I mean, no sooner do we see a new member in the club, and there's already Greg Heaney out with the checkbook. I love it. I'm 10 points for, your tenacity and just pouncing while the whips are cracking, mate, and while the iron's hot, because no one does it better than you. As I say, we'll have a class just for whiskey business alone before too long, the way you guys are racking them up. But actually, on the subject of Lachlan, what did you make of his performance tonight?
Yeah, he did really well, being that I think Jackson recruited him himself, not me. So credit to Jackson. I think he got him from the V8 supercars. So going from being able to driving a supercar to driving this thing is a very different change, being you go from something that has as much horsepower and weighs as much as a supercar to a Porsche. No, well done to him. I think I worked out he finished inside the top 10 for the open split. So yeah, not a bad showing for his first race.
Not bad at all, mate. Not bad at all. Aidan Luthwaite again had to get the elbows out, but by gee, that was a good fight between him and Cody Death in LMP2.
Yeah, by all reports, he's actually under the weather at the moment, so he was a little bit exhausted by the end of that, so he sat out Porsche Cup tonight, but he has told us that he will be on tomorrow, even if he's on his deathbed. Good in the car tomorrow night, and we're looking forward to that. Worldwide Technology Raceway Gateway tomorrow night. We're excited by what's on the agenda for 125 laps. So I've already had, actually, Joe Baldwin, you'll appreciate this. Benny Pedersen's just messaged me and said that his mic's gone kaput again, so we won't be hearing from Benny tonight. I thought he was going to say mine for a moment. I'm like, that's news to me. But no, his mic's gone kaput, so we won't be hearing from Benny this week. We'll do that next week. Thanks for the heads up, mate. Appreciate that. We've got still Greg Heaney, Joe Baldwin and Tim Watson here, so we'll stretch this out as best we can. Hopefully M. Dench will join us for a yarn at some point as well. It's interesting too, because when we look at your stable, Greg, I mean, Dane Snadden, and also I think there were a couple of others here that we needed to point out, but Dane was in the thick of it early in the piece. He got back to 10th in that second race, just ahead of Angus Lawford, but just behind Adam Burhop. What about the early stages of that second race and just trying to stay out of trouble, because in a field that big, trouble wasn't too far away?
Oh, most definitely.
Jackson found out, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Although I think Jackson's incident was at around the same time I had mine. I honestly didn't even realise that there was a car on my back left as close as it was coming into the braking zone for the little carousel. Hence why I ended up right up against the fence. So not entirely sure what happened there, but we persevered and pushed on. But well done to all the boys, and particularly through that first part of the race, as you said. Like, I coming through after the first carousel up and over the hill and down into that very long right-hand sweeper, there was cars everywhere. It was just a case of who got caught up in it, because I was a little bit behind it. I saw two of our cars get kind of caught up in it. Dane managed to make it through with minimal damage. He said he had a little bit of toe was not quite right, and it's like, well, is it drivable? He's like, yep. He's like, okay, cool, we'll just persevere through to the pit stop and take the repair and go. Lockie unfortunately got caught up in it, but obviously still managed to recover well and finish in a respectable position inside the open split.
Indeed. Yeah, I mean, obviously in those instances, if you are caught up in an incident and you feel as though you're the protagonist, then, you know, to avoid wearing the rubber race control, redressing is the best way to go. But again, we'll see what race control says about any of the incidents that haven't yet been addressed tonight in due course. I'm wondering if Adam Lavis, let me have a look here and have a look at my totem pole and my matrix and my Google template sheet. It doesn't look like Adam Lavis is punching the numbers tonight. So if you're waiting for the numbers to be crunched, it's going to be tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. More on that next Monday night. We'll give an updated point standings. As Daniel's already shown you the projected points, but obviously that's not taking into equation the bonuses. So the fastest laps, the clean races, the most positions gained, etc., etc. But Denchi's still a mile out in front, as you can see. Greg, stay there with me. Bring in your teammate Tim Watson. You must not know where to look at the moment, because there's action aplenty, and usually it's a blue and yellow car that looks not dissimilar to yours in the thick of it.
Yeah, there was a bit going on in those races. I was lucky enough to miss a lot of the car, and just couldn't keep it on track myself.
I was going to say, we saw an off-track excursion from you down through the gravel trap at the end of the back straight.
Yeah, in race one, yeah, just missed my braking marker. Nearly hit Dale, but luckily I think there was a netcode contact in there. There was no damage to him, and went through the scene and tried to get back on.
Indeed, and did it nicely too, mate. Let's talk about the two races and the results here. I mean, up into 27th in that second race, 33rd in the first. So suffice to say, the first one may not have necessarily played out all that well for you, but at least you were able to push forward in the second and end on a positive.
Yeah, it was a lot better race. I guess I kept it on the track a bit more than the first race. There's too many locking the brakes up and or going too deep into corners, and just made it a bit harder for myself in that first race. But that is what it is.
Indeed. I've already had, I was going to say, I've already had Nick Fodiatis messaging Joe with regards to tomorrow night. But yes, I'm back on deck tomorrow night for IndyCar, folks. There's been a couple of instances where I haven't been able to do Friday nights this term. For the balance of the season, with the exception of September 13. September 13 is the only one that there's a question mark around, which is round 9 of IndyCar, round 10 for everyone else that week, round 9 of IndyCar, because we lost one to the global IT outage a few weeks back. It's being replayed on Friday, September 20, or rerun. So September 20 is grand final night for IndyCar only. We'll be here that week, but I've been asked to maybe go and MC a function in town. It's one of the sporting clubs on September 13, which might rule me out of round 9, and I was actually looking forward to round 9 because it's now the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. However, normal programming resumes tomorrow night, and we're looking forward to it at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Tim, I mean, Zandvoort, not everybody's cup of tea, and certainly from mine, I was a little bit sceptical as to what we'd get tonight. Thankfully, we got some good racing. I was a bit worried that we wouldn't, because it can be a bit of a goat track. It can be a bit hard for overtaking. It can cause incidents and spread the field out. Thankfully, we didn't have too much in the way of incidents tonight. And thankfully, with the amounts of people we had in the server, we had good racing and no shortage of content. If we had got a poor turnout, that might not have necessarily been the case. However, in saying all of that, your thoughts on Zandvoort, and are you happy to see the back of it?
I don't mind the track. There's a few tricky bits here and there through the track. I think it's a quite fun track with all the banking and some high speeds high-speed stuff, but I can live with it. If we did it more often, it wouldn't bother me. It's not one of those tracks I just won't do or dread doing.
What are your thoughts on the next 3 rounds of the championship, mate? Monza next week and 40 minutes around the Temple of Speed.
Monza, everyone knows Monza. Probably not the quickest around there. Just, again, turn up, do my best on the night, and we'll see what happens.
Indeed we will. We're looking forward to it immensely, mate. And what's next for you now?
Race control on Monday.
Excellent. So will we see you tuning in tomorrow night, or have you got real world commitments?
I don't know yet. We'll see. We'll see what happens after work and go from there. Not too sure what's going on tomorrow yet.
All right, very nicely done. I'm sure you'll keep us posted. The expanding stable that is Whiskey Business Racing, how excited are you being a part of this, and how are you enjoying the banter and the camaraderie with your teammates, mate?
Oh, it's been good. Good getting to know the guys over the last couple of weeks. Haven't been on too much, just still working out who's who and someone's talking, because I don't see who's the names that are talking, so that'll be good. I think the more people you got in your team, the more you'll be able to ask questions on how to get faster or different lines you can take and setups. Everyone does things differently, so it'll be good for a bit of feedback, and hopefully I can get a bit quicker.
All right, very nicely done. Now let's at this point in time ask you about what you think your thoughts are as we edge closer to the end of the season, mate. In terms of how you want to finish this season off, and then how you use the next 2 weeks that follow to build yourself up for a crack at Term 4.
The next few weeks will just be going out, putting my best foot forward. Championship, if I can get a top 10 finish, I'll be pretty happy with that. Anything in there, I'll be happy with. 2 weeks off, don't know what I'll do there. Might do some officials and do a bit of practice. Just myself or the team, put a few sessions up and have a bit of fun.
All right, mate, very nicely done. Hey, thanks for stopping on by to have a chat with us tonight, and we'll see you next week. We'll see you Monday.
No worries, thanks, Zach.
There he is, Tim Watson. Joe Baldwin's here, Greg Heaney, Ben Pedersen as well. The mic sorted itself, did it, Benny?
Oh no, can you hear me?
I can, but we might have to turn you up a little bit, actually. It's very soft, very faint.
How about now?
I can definitely hear you a lot better now. Hopefully everyone at home can as well. Stand by there, mate. Coming back to you in a moment. Want to go to Joe Baldwin. Hard to believe you were out of action last week, Joe. You've returned. It's almost as though the break, albeit planned and not ideal, but it's almost as though that's done you the world of good. It's almost as though you picked up exactly where you left off, and that was a magnificent, flawless performance from you tonight. We didn't see too much of you, so that's how we know that it was a relatively quiet night out despite the busy traffic.
Yeah, look, it's been, I wouldn't say a quiet night. The lap 1 and 2 of, the first couple of laps of race 1 was just wild, and unfortunately, my teammate, poor old Adam Lavers, got involved in a scuffle there coming out of the bowl, going up the hill there. It might have been a bit of miscommunication or whatever with another guy, but he bounced off the left-hand wall. I just went back and had a look at the replay, and he missed swiping me by about a foot. So it's, when you got lemons, you got to make lemonade, and it's just been a good night. Just stayed out of trouble. I sort of, it's funny, like I tempered my pace a little bit tonight. It's quite a difficult, tricky track for me, especially with this car. So I didn't run 10 tenths the whole race. When the elite guys come up behind me, I tried to make it easy to get them by and then just sit behind them and learn. Except when Ben passed me, he was just like, he's got an extra gear than everybody else. I think I tried to hang on there for half a lap, and that wasn't going to happen. But Yeah, it was once I got into a rhythm, I just was banging out lap times within a couple of tenths, just over and over and over, just at my own pace. I thought I was going to have a good run with Aiden. He was fast in practice, but I'm not sure what happened at the start of race 1 there. I think he might have got caught up in something, which is unfortunate. Would have been a good run otherwise, but it's good to rack up some points. I think I got pole and 2 wins in class tonight, so that's certainly going to help the championship. I've already had 1 drop round, obviously, for some personal issues last week, but I'm actually feeling really good at the moment. I'm probably about 90%. I'm really tired now. It's like the tiredness by the end of a race sort of gets to me a little bit, but that'll sort of fix itself up in the next couple of weeks, I'm sure. But it's good to actually get I think I even had 0 each race in race 2. I don't know about race 1, but
No, I think Joe raced 2. I think you actually ended up in front of me at one point because you ran either wide or on the grass, I think, through turn 1.
Yeah, but I didn't get an incident point for it, I don't think.
Oh, you must have been right on the white line.
Yeah, it was. Even the turn 1 on the last lap of the second race, I locked the rears, pinched it and skated it in there like a bloody drunk skateboard. I don't know how I hung on to it, but we got around and finished, and it's a good points haul, right? So I think I've had... overall, I've had a pretty good season, so hopefully we can lock this one up. And I've sort of concentrated on this season, so hopefully we have a good result outright.
Indeed. Without going into too much detail, Joe, where does the return to work fit into all of this? Because you're just saying you're tired now at the end of the sim race, and I'm just wondering, because obviously we weren't expecting you on the grid tonight. You were playing it by ear to see if you said you're back to 90%. You're going well, which is great, and to that point, that's why we've got IndyCar back tomorrow night. So where does the return to work and full fitness fit into this?
It should be Monday week. I'll be back to work. It's I'll be on light duties, but I'll certainly be back to work. Should be right. Once I can start getting a bit easier levels of nutrition into me, I'll be feeling a lot better, I'm sure. So
I was going to say, how good's that though? I mean, you're already feeling 90%. You've got a week and a half to just sit there and hone your craft with the sim racing.
That's the plan.
Excellent.
So I mean, we got Monza next week in the Porsche. I don't know, me personally, I can't see the point in going banging out 100 laps there at Monza. It's it's one of those tracks you either get it or you don't. And I've already got that one in my head as a mulligan. I'm generally not really good there. So it's the long braking zones in the Porsche, and you're right on the ragged edge to get the best out of them. And whilst I had a good run tonight, and I was lucky at the start of the 2 races, a lot of those open guys have picked up the pace. We had the return of Sean Rees, and he was quite speedy. I think he had a bit of an incident. But he was actually quite speedy tonight, so it's it's good to see him back. Dale Atkins, he had a good run last week, so a lot of those open guys. Brett Bradbury, he's gained a fair bit of pace. So if I want to continue running up the front, I'm going to have to put a bit of practice in for the other couple of tracks.
Indeed. All right, mate, very nicely done. Well done on the win tonight, the double win. The championship's in good control at this point, and now it's a case of going out there and finishing it off.
Yeah, that's right. Like I say, I used the 1 drop round last week. I think the drop round points come into it after this week. I think they get the worst of your 2 rounds gets dropped after this week when you come up. So we'll have a better idea of how much it's going to be last week. So if I pick up to this one, I think it should be right. So I've had about 3 or 4 activities at the other championship and not quite there. So the nights actually took one away.
Indeed. No, mate, very nice. nicely done. Congratulations, and nice to hear from you. Nice to see you back on the grid, and we'll hopefully catch up with you tomorrow night for IndyCar.
Yeah, definitely. And just a shout out to the guys too. Remember, we got the AGM coming up next Saturday.
Yes.
So we're a little light on for nominations. We're not, we can either take it one or two ways. Either everyone's happy with what we're doing, or nobody wants to have a go at what we're doing. But if you, but if you want to get involved, like there's a great bunch of guys there on the committee at the moment. I think they're doing a pretty stellar job. I'm pretty happy with where the club's
Under your guidance, Joe.
Well, a bit of a captain maybe, I don't know, but it's a team effort. It's not just me, you know. There's a lot of guys there that help steering the ship. So, but we're always looking for fresh faces. So if you think it's something you want to get involved in, just have a look at the criteria for different roles, and if you meet the criteria, put your hand up by all means, and then the members can vote you into those positions at the meeting, and we'll see where we go after next Saturday's AGM, and we'll march on to season 4, which I can tell you now there is going to be a couple of little surprises during the week, couple of new things on the racing calendar. I know I'm personally excited. There's another committee member who's incredibly excited about it, but I'm going to leave everybody hanging.
So am I, Joe, mate, because I actually attend all the races.
Sorry, Ben, you're a bit quiet, mate.
I said I'm excited too because I can actually attend all the races.
Yeah, nice.
Well, we know if Joe's getting excited, it's probably going to be something fast and something with wings.
And something at Bathurst.
yes, Bathurst.
Yeah, they'll certainly be fast. And speaking of fast, Bathurst and wings, we've got a couple of 80s monster wall, and there's my little incident.
There's your moment.
Last lap.
There's your moment.
First turn, last lap. What a spud. We've got the GTOs, the four-wheel drive Audis this Saturday night. So been sent a set up from a fellow club member. So I'll go and get a couple of laps on that one, get the fuel levels done, and that car's always a hoot around the mountain on a Saturday night. So if you got nothing to do, strap in 2 lots of seatbelts in that car and have some fun.
Strap up, strap in, buckle up, hold on tight. Yep, I like it. Hey, Joe, thank you, mate. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Very nicely done. That AGM, very important, of course. The club continuing to go from strength to strength, people continuing to join on and getting on the fun all the time. And that AGM next Saturday. More links, more details, of course, via our Discord links and via our website, race.GSRC.inc, and, of course, via the Facebook group too. Thank you, boys. Let's press on here. Still got Greg Henny, but I want to get to Benny Pedersen before I go back to Greg and give him the last word, because this is the Whiskey Business Racing post-race show, as I've said before. Ben, very nice performance in race 1, mate, but that does mean that race 2's fraught with somewhat danger, and you weren't able to avoid the trouble.
No, it wasn't, but look, it was no one's fault. I mean, Jackson kept it nice and tight, and iRacing Physics decided that my back needed to turn. That's all it was, really. But, yeah, look, once that happens, it's all over. I thought I'd give it a crack again and try and have some sends. Actually, that's why I came on, so I wanted to do a shout out to the new team, which is called Full Send Motorsport, of all things.
And it was the full send from some of the competitors tonight, including you, because that was a very nice recovery in the second race. After that little moment with Jackson to get back into the top 10, mate. 1st and 7th for the night. I mean, get your thoughts on the second race and the result of that, and whether you're happy or not in a moment in terms of how you were able to recover it. But firstly, the first race, that couldn't have gone much better, could it? I mean, you checked out.
Yeah, look, there's some tracks on iRacing that really click, and because I didn't come out and prep. I just did one official today and then jumped in, but there's some other tracks that just about 200s of laps I'm not real quick at, but this is just one of those ones that get clicked early, and I keep improving by 1,000s every time it comes out during a season. So yeah, it was good to sort of dominate a little bit, but doesn't really matter when you start from 10th in the second race. There was so much traffic.
So much traffic, and I mean, obviously, high percentage or probability of drama. To be fair, there was actually a little bit less than I was anticipating. But as far as keeping the results in check are concerned, at least you're putting the woes of somewhere like Spa very far in the rear-view mirror, mate.
Yeah, definitely. But well, it's always a bit of fun. Even if you stuff up there at the back of the field, I still have a ball doing it. So
that's the main thing.
Yeah, I was a little bit hot-headed, but yeah.
Nothing wrong with that, mate. I get hot-headed just driving out of the shopping centre. But that's because you get stuck behind people that don't know the difference between 80 and 100. But that's another story. Talk to me about your thoughts. I mean, obviously, championship hopes are long gone, but finishing this season on a strong note, and then how excited are you to have a full tilt and not missing any rounds next term? So, I mean, that's a two-part question. Your thoughts on Monza, firstly, and maybe having a toe-to-toe race with Matty Dench for one, and two, what are your thoughts on being able to, go full send for the whole 10 weeks next term?
Well, it'll be 9 weeks actually. I've got 1 week off, but I think we get a drop week, don't we?
You get 2 drop weeks.
Oh, okay. Oh, well,
you get 2 drop rounds.
But Monza, don't know. I haven't driven up for so long. I don't know how I rate there, but I've got a bit of time this weekend to practice it, so I'll do a little bit of practice as opposed to this week. Actually, I got a really good setup today. The only official I ran was at, I think, 5:45, and that Chinese fella leaves really fast on the surface. Yeah. I was like, but he qualified first, I qualified second. I overtook him, led for a while, and then he got ahead of me. And he was really quick out of the section. I thought, he's got to have a setup here, because I was just running the iRacing setup. And he goes, yeah, I'm using one of the ones online, and he sent me the sort of vague guide of how it was and said, just try this. So I've just driven a car with like absolute maximum rake. It was like -9 on the rear. That's how it was set up for that race. Brilliant around that track. So I've never driven a car like it, but yeah, it was really good. I might I'm going to flick it up in the Discord so anyone can try it for officials.
Copy that. What else is keeping you busy over the course of the next 7 days?
Unfortunately, work.
Yeah, it always gets in the way. I know what you mean.
Yeah, 3 kids. I'll spend a bit of time with them, and that's it really. Just any free moment I've got is on a sim. Because that's probably the only joy of my life is Saturdays. In terms of hobbies, anyway.
Oh dear. As I'm talking to you guys and conducting the post-race show, I'm scrolling through social and just catching up on what's unfolded throughout the course of the night. Tigers got the better of Manly in Thursday night football, folks, but my favourite is dad jokes on Instagram, and sometimes I wake up grumpy, but other times I let her sleep in. I think that's very, very accurate given my current circumstances. Now, with regards to you, Benny, one other question before I let you go, mate. What about the increase in the competitiveness at the top end of the field? The presence, the arrival of 9.5 Sim Sport is really going to mix things up nicely at the top end of town.
Yeah, I think you're going to get some more hot drivers coming in too, I hope. But yeah, it's good. It's good to see. Plus, this new update, it's changed everything. The dynamic of the car, it's brought a lot of racing closer together, for sure. So that's good.
How much of a challenge is that to get your head around? Every time they change it, and you've got to readjust and familiarise yourself and get comfortable once more.
This last change was probably the biggest that I've experienced in the car, but yeah, I like it. I liked it a lot better than the old one. Whereas a lot of it's a 50-50 opinion from everyone, really. Like, a lot of people either love it or they hate it. But I like it.
Indeed. All right, mate. Hey, very nicely done. Thank you for that. Good to catch up as per usual. Go well. We'll catch up next week.
Yeah, sounds good. See you then.
I'll just jump in before Ben nicks off. Jackson sends his apologies for the incident that we've obviously just seen there. I think he was just he unfortunately can't send you a message at this point in time due to reasons I will not mention.
No, we've already had a private chat on Discord. No, he didn't do anything wrong, honestly. Like, I looked at the replay in depth, and, like, he just kept it tight. I, mounted the curb, and when I got on throttle to try and just power out and get a little bit of a, lead on him, my back stepped out probably 15 centimetres, and he would have, if it didn't happen, he still would have had the corner coming up with the next, so he had a good drive out of it, but he didn't do anything wrong. So I'm not annoyed at him. I'm annoyed that happened, but not at what he did, so it's fine.
All good.
Very nicely done. Isn't it nice when it's amicable on a Thursday night? Benny, thanks, mate. Appreciate that.
All good, guys. I only get mad for about 3 seconds, and then I get over it.
So we fly to the next gear.
Yeah, you're better than me. I get mad for about 3 years, but that's another story. Hey, Greg, to finish with you, obviously we're excited about IndyCar tomorrow night, but I mean, Monza is Monza, and we've got DownForce Legends next week as well, which will be equally as entertaining. I mean, I'm looking at the schedule here for week 8. Fuji for DownForce Legends, so LMP2 around a track that we're fast becoming familiar with in recent days.
Yeah, that will be a very quick lap around that in one of those. And then off to Monza in the Porsche. I hope we can get as many boys as we can on for the Porsches next week. And we have to fix up Bobby's livery. Unfortunately, it didn't load up for him properly tonight, so otherwise you would have seen another one of us driving around.
It's like someone's just dropped by with fertiliser. It's just extraordinary. Thriving and flourishing.
Bobby did say, I'll sign me up on Monday, so we did.
We did,
Unfortunately,
yeah.
we didn't get his livery sorted. We didn't get his livery sorted out tonight for it to show up on stream. So
I love it. I love it. Well done, Bobby. Very much on the front foot there as well, just like Greg. Hey, final one goes to you, Greg, and it's not dissimilar to what I was asking Benny a few moments ago. This is just extraordinary, the growth of this series. Porsches have come back in a big way, but now you've got teams that are, very well regarded, very well respected in supercar circles, trying their hand at Porsche racing and coming back to the fold of the GSRC. Great to have 9.5 SimSport here, and if what Benny's saying, if it's the start of a few more teams thinking along the same lines, the Porsche racing here could be off the scale.
yeah, you'll probably find that the servers are going to fill up pretty quick if that ends up being the case. So you're probably going to lose your mind, because who knows how many more people I could end up recruiting, but if they're coming across with teams that are more reputable than a bunch of mates that are just having a bit of fun, then they probably won't jump ship over to ours. But, no. I mean, I'll give it a crack. I'll try. But no.
I'll tell you this, though. If we do have a capacity issue, there's two things that could happen. They could either split it up into elite in one split and open in another, as they've done with Super 2 and Super 3, or they could split it up into whiskey and non-whiskey.
Well, you could try that.
The same number.
You might. I did in discussions on my Discord today with Greg Brooks and some of the boys for some giggles for one round. I suggested that I get the guys from RER to run my livery, and we hit up as many other people on the grid as we can, just to get a rise out of yourself on a Thursday with half the grid in our colours.
Yeah, it'll be fantastic. Trying to pick up. I mean, it was hard enough tonight with SGK cracking the proverbial. SGK had an enormous wobbly tonight. So, I mean, we struggled through race one and then found a way to... Josh Zuno thankfully threw me a live feed to fire up for the Porsches, so that we had time coming internally from someone that was logged into the server rather than someone logging in externally, and that seemed to do the trick. But I don't know what the hell SDK was smoking tonight, but it just didn't want to fire. It was like the you know how the clock moves twice as fast in the real world with regards to our weather server settings? Well, this one was moving about a quarter as fast as real time. It was like the slow kid at the back of the classroom, but there was nothing you could do to help him along. So SGK had a real bad one, and as a result of that, I'm very happy if the tape of my call of DownForce Legends from Road America gets lost and never to be found again. It was all over the shop, but we got through it. We managed to just, limp and coast our way through it. I don't know how. Greg, thank you to you. If that does end up happening, by the way, the biggest problem for me will be not picking up the livery, but picking up the numbers and making sure that the positions are right. But maybe that is something we do for a Whiskey Business Invitational at the end of the season or something. I'm not sure.
Oh, look, I'm sure we can arrange something.
I'm sure you can. I'm sure you're already working on it as we speak. Thank you, Greg Heaney. Appreciate that. Tim Watson's still here as well. Thank you to him. No Matty Dench tonight, but good to catch up with Betty Patterson and Joe Baldwin as well. Daniel, wow, great night that. Great to have Aidan Schultz drop by and have a chat with us here in Central Commentary as well. So we've barely heard a word from you in the last hour and a bit, but in saying that, good night out, better racing than I anticipated here at Zandvoort, and Road America was not too bad either. Like, normally we get a little bit more entertainment out of Road America, but with an 18-car field, that was the bigger problem.
Yeah, of course. I mean, the big thing out of Road America was obviously that incident that Matt Still right at the tail end of the race, which brought
defining
him down.
moment.
Yeah, big time. And also the big push there from Cody Deeth managing to make his way up to, I forget now, he finished second.
I think it would
overall.
have been second in the end because just still retired. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so he ended up being second overall. So yeah, that was an entertaining one. And then of course, yeah, Zandvoort threw up a much better race than we anticipated. There were a couple of incidents and big ones as well, especially in that second race. We saw just the start. There's one there too. Shinkfield just getting caught in the middle, and then an amazing avoid here by the Twitchy four. Look at that. Woo!
Yeah.
I don't even cue that up.
That was going on it.
Yeah.
So, no idea how he made that happen.
Exactly. So, yeah, good racing there. Dench putting on a show again for that second race, but a big congratulations to Ben Pedersen, who, yeah, just absolutely dominated that first race there. And, of course, a shout out to Mark Gomes, because he really did put the gloves out there when Dench was trying to get past him. And it's good to see people getting more comfortable with that, and also more people really bringing it to them as well. So obviously the more they race, the better they get, and then yeah, we should see some absolute cracker battles for that top spot. But unfortunately it does seem, I think Dench might actually have already taken it. I think he's already taken the series now.
Well, if he hasn't, he's bloody close.
Yeah.
If he hasn't wrapped it up this week, he'll wrap it up next week. I mean, it's just extraordinary the way in which it's a detrimental style when not following officials. Yeah, exactly. It's extraordinary what Dench continues to achieve and what he continues to rack up by way of performance and results and the show he puts on in the process. Like, I mean, you know it's a tough night at the office, and you know the quality of the Porsche racing is increasing tenfold when Dench has to get the elbows out just to fight for second. And that's what we saw in race one. That was really good stuff, and I cannot wait to see more of that over the next few weeks.
Yeah, I agree.
Eddie Patterson saying he's useless and when he can't race against people in preparation, and that's the point, right? We've got 400 odd members in this club. Everyone has different preferences in terms of their plan of attack and the way they go about it. So with regard and things that make them comfortable. Not everybody likes sprint racing. Not everybody likes enduros. Not everybody likes inverts. Not everybody likes jumping in the car and doing hours of preparation and practice and whatnot. People want to do racing rather than testing, and that's the great thing. iRacing in some way, shape or form, for the few shortcomings it still has, finds a way to cater for everyone, and that's what we like. Very good stuff.
And I'll say this. I have a feeling that which I'd imagine at this point will be next season, when we get the Gen 3 supercars, I'd imagine they're going to go off here at the GSRC. Just an inkling.
Without doubt.
Because they will be a drastic change in that format. And with them, I don't know how early, I don't know which one of the tracks would come first. I'm curious to see if they release an Australian track alongside it. Because there are a couple in the pipeline.
There are, well, maybe a New Zealand track. Remember
Pukekohe, yeah, good point.
Yeah, I mean, what we know is that Pukekohe's coming. Tailem Bend, the Bend Motorsport Park, Shell V-Power Motorsport Park has been scanned, and Adelaide will be scanned. And then we also know that there's been a lot of smoke and fire around Sydney Motorsport Park. There's been a lot of speculation on that one for a while. So if they're going to do that, and then, I mean, there's 4 tracks over the course of the next year or so that could be coming our way. Yeah. Exciting times to be an Australian fan of this platform. We're just about done, folks. Remember, well, I'm about to go and have dinner and watch a triple episode of Home and Away. So, and that's in order for us to be up to speed so that I can jump back in here tomorrow night and join Joe Baldwin to bring you the IndyCar racing. But yeah, we've had great fun tonight. I just wanted to let everybody know Liam Banks will be in my seat here on Thursday Night Motorsport for the next fortnight. The Ipswich Jets presentation dinner next Thursday night takes me out of the seat for the night, and the week after, friends of mine from, well, high school, believe it or not, high school, live in Brisbane now, and we're going to watch the Broncos Storm match at Suncorp, which will be an absolute beauty. Paralympics also starting next week, a lot of great sport on the way, and it's in a year where it just keeps rolling on. There's no shortage of it. There's more than you can poke a stick at. Let's have a look at what's coming your way on the platforms of the GSRC. And we want to remind you that we're back on deck for a Friday night tomorrow night, and we invite you to join us for round 6 of the IndyCar Series from Worldwide Technology Raceway Gateway. 125 laps or 65 minutes, whichever comes first. 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is when it all gets underway. Joe Baldwin and I with you for that one. Saturday night, Mountain Men, not broadcast, but the Audi 90 GTO around Mount Panorama. 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 32 laps, the standard procedure there. Sunday, nothing at this rate. Monday, the Watkins Glen Cup Circuit fires into life for round 8 of the merch.tgsrci.com Super 2 and Super 3 series. We'll bring you Super 2 on Monday night, and then Super 3 in week 9, and that's 7:35 Eastern Standard Time. We're on air from 7:30. Then on to the Hockenheim Ring at 8:30 Eastern for 2 magnificent sprint races. Race 1 from the AM Split, Race 2 from the Pro Split, and Pro-Am results throughout. For Waste Options GT3, with thanks to the great people there. Waste Options, 8:30 Eastern, 2 sprint races, final sprint round of the championship. Tuesday night, introductory formula takes us to Zandvoort. Yeah, back here to Circuit Park Zandvoort in the Renault 2.0. That won't be too bad. And we stay at Circuit Park Zandvoort for wins and slicks over 40 minutes. So 8 p.m. for the introductory formula, 9:15 Eastern for the wins and slicks. Wednesday night, production cars first up, the Mustang FR500s from Willow Springs. That's a great racetrack. That's an underrated racetrack if ever there was one. 15 minutes for race 1, 25 for race 2. Top 10 reverse grid in there for good measure in race 2, 7:30 Eastern. Then on to Mount Panorama Bathurst. See, Bathurst always gets a run. Doesn't matter where in the season it is. It's in week 8 for the GT4s. 8:45 Eastern Standard Time. Then we're back with you next Thursday night. Liam Banks deputising for me, thanks to him in advance. Fuji first up for DownForce Legends for 40 minutes from 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. And then on to Monza. So just a single race across the 2 servers next week. 40 minutes at Monza, 8:45 Eastern Standard Time. The last of the 40-minute races, round 8 of the Spreyton side of Porsche Cup. So round 8 for everyone next week, except IndyCar, it'll be round 7 for them. But first we must get to round 6. That's tomorrow night, and we hope you'll join us for that and more on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. And we couldn't do this without the great support of the following: Leipzig Racing, M-Wave Australia, Flash Graphics, Spreyton Cider, Waste Options, merch.tgsrci.com, and of course, the great people at Orbic, Australia. There's the merch store, race.tgsrci.com to join in the fun and find out what we're all about, and to get your hands on some of the fantastic merch we've got in our store. It's available for purchase. Head to merch.tgsrci.com or gsrcmerch.myshopify.com. On the way out, quick shout out to a couple of good friends of mine. Josh Brown, Rachel Sorrigan, walking down the aisle on Saturday afternoon in Tambourine Mountain. Cannot wait to get off air at West Brommer at about midday Eastern and head straight down there and just pray to God that there's not a roadblock or a traffic jam or congestion or any of the other BS that you'd normally find on the Gold Coast Highway. I love a wedding that puts Canadian Club on the bar tab. I cannot wait. It's well overdue, a solid drink on Saturday afternoon. Craig, I know you're still tuning in. I'll play some F1 23 with you tomorrow before I jump in here for IndyCar. Hope you'll join us for that and more as week 7 rolls on the platforms of the GSRC. We've had fun here from Circuit Park Zandvoort. More fun than we probably anticipated. Some good stars on show here making their maiden appearance on the platforms of the GSRC. But I tell you what, if they become regulars, they'll be well worth keeping an eye on. Some impressive performances tonight. Some new names on the totem pole, some new names to jot down and just keep an eye on throughout the next short while. I'm well done to 95 Simsport for getting involved here in the Porsche Cup. On behalf of Daniel Correa, Aidan Schultz, the entire broadcast production team, thanks to Josh Zuno for helping me out with the live timing. I hope that SDK is back firing on all cylinders tomorrow night. If not, I don't know what the hell we're going to do. We'll be up the creek without a paddle once more. It certainly felt like that when we got going at 7:30 tonight. Thankfully, it sorted itself out. On behalf of Dan and the team here, the Tigers over the Manly Seagulls in Thursday night NRL. AFL, of course, final round of the regular season tomorrow night. The NRL continues for a couple of weeks, and so much to look forward to across the course of the weekend. But we'll get to all of that tomorrow night it's actually rather fitting that we ended up at Circuit Park Zandvoort tonight, because that's where Formula One is this weekend, and we hope you'll enjoy that as well. On behalf of the crew here, enjoy the rest of your Thursday evening. Have a good Friday at work, and we look forward to your company back here, same time, same place, tomorrow night. Until then, I'm Zach Caden bidding you a very good night, everybody. Bye for now.